Most of the clothes in Chen Yang's wardrobe are cheap items, costing tens or hundreds of yuan each. Moreover, they wear them for several years, and the clothes have long since faded and turned white from washing. It's not that he doesn't have money, but that he's reluctant to spend it recklessly. After all, that money was earned through hard work and part-time jobs. But times have changed. Using the god of investment bestowed upon him by the system, he amassed an astonishing fortune in the stock market in just one day, ending his financial straits. Making money is no longer a difficult task for him. So starting today, Chen Yang will say goodbye to the past and begin to enjoy life. Luxury goods and international brands that were previously unaffordable can now be purchased without worrying about budget. This feeling made Chen Yang feel extremely comfortable. This is generally how it is when a poor person suddenly becomes rich. Yi Qingye expressed her understanding of Chen Yang's mindset, so she selected several casual outfits and several business suits for Chen Yang, and also asked the salesperson to find him leather shoes in the right size. After mastering this skill, Chen Yang was completely transformed, his image undergoing a dramatic change. Hey, isn't this Chen Yang, the top student in the finance department of Shanghai University? What's this? Instead of going to work a part-time job today, you're here to buy clothes at the Versace boutique. Chen Yang, don't say I didn't warn you. The price of just one piece of clothing here is enough for you to work for several months. With your income, if you don't buy those cheap clothes on Pinduoduo, where will you get the money to spend here? Could it be that you've hooked up with a rich woman and are now living off her? However, at that moment, a man and a woman, both around 20 years old, walked towards us and looked like college students. The young man immediately noticed Chen Yang, who was wearing a casual Versace outfit. He couldn't help but sneer, his words revealing no attempt to hide his mockery and contempt. His name is Tan Yang, the class monitor of Class 2, Finance, a senior at Shanghai University. His grades aren't outstanding, but he comes from a wealthy family and has an impressive background. He owns a BMW X6, making him a true second-generation rich kid. Because he was somewhat handsome and generous, he was constantly surrounded by women and was a well-known playboy in the finance department. The main reason why Tan Yang and Chen Yang don't get along is that Chen Yang has consistently ranked first in the grade and is recognized as a top student by teachers and classmates. In addition, his outstanding looks and tall stature, along with his reputation as the most handsome man in the finance department, made him the object of many girls' affections, completely overshadowing him. This made Tan Yang very unhappy. The real reason Chen Yang incurred Tan Yang's resentment was that Tan Yang had always coveted Liu Ruyan, the class beauty, and wanted her to be his girlfriend. However, Liu Ruyan had long harbored feelings for Chen Yang and used this as a reason to reject Tan Yang's advances. This infuriated Tan Yang, who harbored deep hatred for Chen Yang and constantly sought to cause him trouble. However, Chen Yang's daily routine was very regular, consisting of only 3 points: classroom, library, and dormitory. Whenever I have free time on weekends, I go out to do part-time jobs. This has been the case for 4 years without exception. Now that the opportunity is right in front of him, how could Tan Yang possibly miss it? Tan Yang, where I am and what I did are none of your business. Also, watch your mouth, or don't blame me for being rude to you. Chen Yang knew that Tan Yang had always been jealous of him and was trying to find ways to target him. Unfortunately, I hadn't been able to find an opportunity before. Unexpectedly, we bumped into each other here by some strange twist of fate. Chen Yang doesn't cause trouble, but that doesn't mean he's afraid of trouble. A scholar should be viewed with new eyes after 3 days' absence. Now, Chen Yang is fully confident in dealing with Tan Yang's provocations. Chen Yang, I didn't expect that after not seeing you for a while, you've not only become more eloquent, but your tone has also become much more arrogant. I'm really curious who gave you such confidence. Is it that rich woman you've hooked up with, or that influential person you've connected with? Tan Yang snorted coldly and said with a disdainful expression, Yi Qingye, it's Yi Qingye, the most beautiful goddess in the foreign languages department. What's she doing here? Su Jiali affectionately wrapped her arm around Tan Yang's, intending to stand by and watch the show unfold. But the next second, she spotted a stunningly beautiful figure with an exceptional aura. She not only knew this person, but she also knew him very well. Chen Yang, who are they? Do you know them? Yi Qingye turned around, her gaze falling on Tan Yang and Su Jiali. She heard everything Tan Yang said to Chen Yang clearly. Therefore, she didn't have much affection for the 2 people in front of her. In fact, one could say she quite disliked them. After all, Chen Yang's current status is that of Yi Qingya's man in name only. Mocking and ridiculing, Chen Yang is tantamount to slapping Yi Qingya in the face. Now that she's encountered something like this, she can't possibly pretend nothing happened. His name is Tan Yang, and he is the class monitor of Class 2 in our finance department. He liked a girl in his class, but she didn't like him, so she used me as a shield to reject him. He also holds a grudge against me because of this. I suspect he saw me buying clothes at the Versace store, and not wanting me to do well, he's trying to smear my reputation. It's nothing but despicable behavior. Chen Yang saw right through Tan Yang's little scheme. He found such methods and approaches utterly despicable. HMPH, you're just a poor student. Where would you get the money to shop at a Versace store? Besides selling your body and hooking up with rich women, how could you possibly earn so much money in such a short time? Tan Yang sneered and said disdainfully. Chapter 34, Tan Yang's Taunts and Threats. Tan Yang, how I earned my money has absolutely nothing to do with you. Chen Yang's voice was cold and firm, as if every word carried a chilling edge. His gaze was piercing, fixed on Tan Yang, his eyes revealing an undeniable air of authority. Don't think you can act tough in front of me just because you have a few bucks. Let me tell you, if you dare to mess with me today, I'll make you pay the price. Chen Yang's words were firm and resolute, carrying an undisguised threat. As he spoke, Chen Yang took a step, walking towards Tan Yang step by step. His steps were steady and powerful, each step seeming to pound on Tan Yang's heart, making Tan Yang's heart beat faster involuntarily. Chen Yang is a full 1.88 meters tall, with a robust physique. Years of training have given him well-defined features, giving him a powerful and imposing presence. As Chen Yang approached, Tan Yang felt an unprecedented sense of oppression. He couldn't help but feel flustered, and his voice trembled involuntarily. Chen Yang, what? What do you want to do? What do I want to do? Chen Yang's lips curled up slightly, revealing a disdainful smile. I just want you to know that not everyone can be bought off by your stinking money. I'm telling you, don't you dare do anything reckless. Otherwise, I will definitely not let you off easily, Tan Yang shouted, trying to cover up his fear with words. However, Chen Yang was not intimidated by his words. He continued to press forward until he was almost touching Tan Yang. What makes you think you have the right to threaten me? Chen Yang's voice was deep and magnetic. With your family background and underhanded methods. Tan Yang's face turned gloomy and looked very unpleasant. He never expected that this guy, whom he considered a member of the lower class and a test-taker in a small town, would dare to speak to him in such a tone. After a long pause, he spoke coldly, his voice laced with anger. Chen Yang, aren't you being far too arrogant? I admit that you are talented in your studies. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to always be first in your grade. But in today's society, besides ability, the most important things are resources and connections. Without these, no matter how outstanding you are, you'll still end up as an employee. In fact, with just one phone call from me, you could be fired the very next day. Don't doubt what I'm saying, because my father is the chairman of China Overseas Group, and my mother is the director of the city's central hospital. The influence of my Tan family extends to all walks of life. If I wanted to, I could make you unemployed right after graduation. Crushing you, Yuan, would be a piece of cake. At that time, there will be no place for you in this vast city of Shanghai. If you know what's good for you, stay away from Liu Ruyan from now on and don't have any more entanglement with her. Then, kneel down and apologize to me, and I might let you off the hook out of consideration for our friendship as fellow students. Otherwise, HMPH, you'll have to consider the consequences yourself. If this had happened before, Chen Yang would have been terrified if Tan Yang had threatened him. After all, the reason he studied so hard was that he wanted to find a good job in Shanghai after graduation, and then try to settle down in the city. If Tan Yang interferes and causes him to lose his job, then his long-held dream will be shattered. But now Chen Yang has a cheat code. He would never submit to anyone. He will definitely start his own business in the future, become his own boss, and then become a high-ranking person and a new capital elite. Therefore, Chen Yang considered Tan Yang's threat to be a complete joke. Tan Yang, how come I never noticed before? How can you be so naive? Do you think you can make me submit to your tyranny just by talking? Don't tell me you don't have that ability. Even if you did, I wouldn't be afraid at all. I'm telling you right now, if you don't get out of here and continue to get in my way, don't blame me for being ruthless with my fists and feet. Chen Yang had been holding back in the past because he lacked sufficient confidence and strength. But now, the super all-powerful system gives him the ability to back him up, let alone dealing with a mere Tan Yang, even against the Tan family, given some time. Chen Yang might not be without a way to deal with them. This is a Versace clothing store. I want to shop here. What right do you have to stop me? Putting everything else aside, just look at the outfit you're wearing right now. It would cost tens of thousands of yuan to buy. I want to see if you can actually afford it. Tan Yang was so angry that he laughed instead. Then he took a few steps back, but didn't leave, intending to watch the show from the sidelines. At the same time, Tan Yang's gaze fell on Yiqingya without him even noticing. Tan Yang naturally knew this campus belle goddess, who was the most beautiful, elegant, and famous at Shanghai University. He was puzzled. Yiqingya was pursued by countless rich second-generation heirs and scions of powerful families. These people came from prominent families and had noble statuses, and they were people he dared not offend. Yet this proud and privileged woman ended up with a poor boy like Chen Yang. Judging from their appearance, the two have a close relationship. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, Tan Yang would never have believed that a poor student like Chen Yang with no background could win Yiqingya's favor. Seeing Tan Yang sticking to him like a leech, Chen Yang felt very annoyed. After a moment, Chen Yang turned to look at Yiqingya and asked softly, "Qingya, we've had enough shopping. Shall we pay the bill and leave? It'll save us from having our good mood ruined by this kind of person." Yiqingya nodded understandingly. "Okay, I'll listen to you." Seeing this, Chen Yang looked at the sales assistant, Xiao Wu, and said, "Pack all these clothes up, I'll buy them." "Yes, sir," Xiao Wu replied happily. Then all the clothes and shoes that Chen Yang had tried on were packed into special shopping bags. On the other side, the cashier began recording the transactions. "Sir, these clothes and shoes total a cost of 265,420 yuan. How would you like to pay?" Chen Yang didn't even lift his eyelids when he heard the amount. His expression remained indifferent. The next moment, he took out his wallet from his pocket, took out an ordinary UnionPay card, and handed it directly to the cashier. "Swipe your card. The PIN is the last 6 digits of your bank card number." Upon seeing this, Tan Yang couldn't help but sneer. 260,000. I doubt even if you sold Chen Yang, he wouldn't be worth that much. In my opinion, this guy is probably trying to pretend to be rich in front of Yi Xiaohua in an attempt to attract her attention and win her favor. In reality, this money may have been borrowed by Chen Yang from online loans. Even if Tan Yang was very unhappy with Chen Yang, he had to admit one thing. In terms of looks and image, Chen Yang is absolutely top tier. Not to mention, he is also a top student who has consistently ranked first in finance. His only weakness is probably that he comes from an ordinary family and doesn't have enough background or resources to support him. Even so, many rich girls and socialites in the school extended olive branches to him. This made Tan Yang both resentful and jealous. On the side, Su Jiali found Tan Yang's words to be very reasonable. After all, Chen Yang was a prominent figure at Shanghai University, and his background was no secret at the school. Previously, I had to work part-time to make a living. Now, however, he frequents high-end luxury stores and buys designer clothes. The contrast before and after is so huge. There must be some unknown secret here. Chapter 35, Card Swipe Successful. Everyone was shocked. The store cashier had no idea that Tan Yang and Su Jiali were there, and was just waiting to see Chen Yang make a fool of himself. She took Chen Yang's UnionPay card, swiped it lightly on the POS machine's card slot, and entered the payment amount and bank card PIN. Beep beep. The next second, the system notified me that the payment was successful, and the bill was printed out as well. Surprisingly, the payment was actually successful. Where did this guy get so much money? Seeing this scene, Tan Yang was extremely shocked, and his face showed disbelief. Su Jiali is the same. The store cashier and saleswoman Xiao Wu looked at Chen Yang with complicated expressions. There was envy, amazement, and admiration, which eventually turned into deep awe. Being able to spend hundreds of thousands of yuan at a high-end luxury brand store is enough to show that Chen Yang's identity is not simple. Not to mention that Chen Yang is young, rich, and handsome. No woman could resist a rich and handsome young man like him. Among those present, only Yiqingya remained relatively calm. She knew that Chen Yang had made over 8 million yuan from stock trading yesterday. Aside from the Maybach S680 luxury car he just bought at the dealership, which cost over 3 million yuan, Chen Yang still had at least 5 or 6 million yuan in his account. Buying a few designer clothes to impress others was no problem at all. "Sir, here is your bank card and receipt." Since your cumulative spending in our store has exceeded 200,000 yuan, you have been automatically upgraded to a VIP customer. On your next shopping trip to our store, you will enjoy a 5% discount, and our store will also provide you with free home delivery. The cashier respectfully handed the bank card and receipt to Chen Yang with both hands, a smile on her face, and said, "Yes, I'll come again when I have time." Chen Yang nodded and casually stuffed the card and receipt into his pocket. Immediately afterwards, he picked up the shopping bag with one hand, held Yi Qingya's fair and smooth hand with the other, and strode out of the store. Yi Qingya was somewhat surprised by Chen Yang's actions, but after thinking about it, she still did not break free. Their relationship is rather unusual. They are not officially a couple at this stage, but they have had an intimate relationship and she is pregnant. Fortunately, they reached a consensus and decided to develop their relationship with marriage in mind. Young Master Tan, Chen Yang, and School Beauty Yi have left. What do we do now? Should we sneak after them or continue shopping? Su Jiali snapped out of her daze and quickly grabbed Tan Yang's arm, deliberately rubbing her full breasts against his arm. According to her original plan, she wanted Tan Yang to buy her a limited edition handbag and several high-end designer clothes. I never expected to run into Chen Yang halfway there, and for this unexpected incident to happen. Nonsense, of course we followed. This little brat not only talked back to me in public, but also boasted shamelessly. I want to see what kind of good fortune he has encountered to become so generous. Also, don't forget that Yi Qingya is the most beautiful campus belle goddess at our Shanghai University. Every suitor around her is a scion of a wealthy and noble family. Even my Tan family would never dare to offend her. If they knew that the goddess they had always admired and pursued would rather be with a pretty boy than accept their advances, it would undoubtedly be a slap in the face for them. For that reason alone, they are unlikely to let Chen Yang off easily. Tan Yang looked in the direction Chen Yang and Yi Qingya had left, a sneer curving his lips. After saying that, the two of them quickened their pace and followed. On the other side, Chen Yang walked about several dozen meters out of the store before letting go of Yi Qingya's hand. "Qingya, I'm so sorry for what happened earlier. I made you laugh at me." Yi Qingya shook her head and said softly, "Chen Yang, if others look down on you, it's because they have poor judgment. In my eyes, you have excellent grades, outstanding talent, and outstanding looks. Not only are you good at making money, but you are also an excellent cook. These qualities alone are enough to outshine most high-quality men. So you should have confidence in yourself." Upon hearing this, Chen Yang's gaze towards Yi Qingya softened considerably. To be honest, Yi Qingya is really a good person, gentle, kind, and has her own opinions on everything she does. Most importantly, she is very good at discovering the strengths in others. Although Chen Yang had only spent 2 short days with her, he felt incredibly comfortable. This strengthened Chen Yang's resolve to win Yi Qingya's heart and make her his woman. "Yes, I will. Qingya, you've picked out so many outfits and shoes for me. As a thank you, I'll take you to a women's clothing store and buy you a few more outfits while I'm at it." As soon as Chen Yang finished speaking, Yi Qingya instinctively wanted to refuse. After all, the last thing she lacked was clothes. Her wardrobe was full of brand-name clothing of various styles and designs. However, before Yi Qingya could speak, Chen Yang immediately said, "Don't refuse. This is not only a token of my appreciation, but also my reward for you." Yi Qingya was stunned for a moment. For the first time, she discovered that Chen Yang also had a domineering side. "However, he looks quite charming now. Okay, I'll do whatever you say." Yi Qingya ultimately decided to agree. The two went up to the second floor and browsed the women's clothing stores, where there were even more brands to choose from. Chanel, Prada, Louis Vuitton, Gucci, Hermes, Annie Armani. It has to be said that in this prime commercial shopping center, where every inch of land is precious, top global luxury brands have all chosen to set up their own offline stores in order to compete for market share and expand their competitiveness. Here, as long as you have the money, you can buy all kinds of top luxury brands and enjoy the ultimate service and experience. Chen Yang and Yi Qingya strolled around. Before I knew it, I had arrived at the Chanel store. "Qingya, come on, let's go inside and take a look around." After saying that, Chen Yang took Yi Qingya's hand and strode towards the exhibition hall. Yi Qingya blushed slightly, but having learned from her previous experience, she wasn't too surprised this time. However, my heart rate involuntarily increased a little. "Sir, madam, welcome to the Chanel flagship store. I am Wang Mei, your sales associate. I will be in charge of serving you from now on." Before long, a staff member dressed in a business suit with black stockings on her legs and high heels on her feet, came forward with a warm smile. Help my girlfriend pick out a few clothes that are suitable for her. Remember, it has to be the newest and best-looking style. Chen Yang looked at the sales clerk and spoke directly. No problem, this way please, both of you. Wang Mei nodded slightly, turned her body respectfully to the side, and made a gesture of invitation. Guided by Wang Mei, Chen Yang and Yi Qingye arrived at a spacious area. Before me, rows of clothes racks displayed clothing of various styles. Each piece of clothing is priced at least several thousand yuan. A high-end sofa and a tea table were placed on the ground next to it. There is also a full-length mirror in front, so that customers trying on clothes can see their face and condition immediately. The facilities and layout here were all designed by professionals. It looks pleasing to the eye and has a high-end, classy feel. Chapter 36, like a lotus emerging from clear water, naturally beautiful without adornment. Before Chen Yang and Yi Qingye could wait long, Wang Mei pointed to several clothes racks in front of her and said with a smile, "Sir, madam, these clothes are all new styles for the season, and they are also the best-selling styles this year. Please feel free to browse around. If you find anything you like, you can choose it and try it on in the fitting room later to see how it looks." Chen Yang nodded, then looked at Yi Qingye. "Qingye, go and pick out a few to try." Yi Qingye didn't hesitate. She went to the clothes rack and, according to her own aesthetic sense and taste, carefully selected 2 relatively novel jumpsuits, as well as several shirts and pants. Then he walked towards the fitting room. Chen Yang sat on the sofa, picked up a fashion magazine from the table, and started flipping through it idly. About a few minutes, the fitting room door was opened. Yi Qingye was wearing a black, fluffy jumpsuit. Her exquisite makeup, combined with her angelic face, made her look stunningly beautiful. Her graceful figure and long, slender, fair, and delicate legs were the finishing touch, possessing a fatal allure for Chen Yang. Although Chen Yang knew that Yi Qingye was hailed as the most beautiful campus belle goddess of Shanghai University, with top-notch looks and figure, but the visual impact of her change of clothes at this moment was unprecedented. Like a lotus emerging from clear water, naturally beautiful without any artifice. There is a beautiful woman in the north, peerless and independent. For a moment, Chen Yang couldn't find the words to describe Yi Qingye's beauty. "Chen Yang, do you think I look good in this dress?" Yi Qingye noticed that Chen Yang was completely distracted and stunned by her charm, and she was secretly delighted. But she tried her best to remain calm and asked him, "Beautiful, absolutely stunning. She's as beautiful as a celestial being." Chen Yang nodded decisively and replied in a strong and clear voice, "Madam, your figure and temperament are a perfect match for this dress. In my opinion, you are in no way inferior to a fashion model. Look at the way your boyfriend looks at you. He looks like he wants to devour you whole. It's clear how charming you are." The sales assistant next to them was also enthusiastically praising it. Although she seemed to be promoting something, she was speaking from the heart. Anyone with eyes can see that Yi Qingye's looks and figure are definitely no less than those of popular female celebrities. Influenced by her upbringing, she exudes an air of nobility. This kind of temperament can only be cultivated in wealthy and powerful families. After receiving affirmation from Chen Yang and the sales assistant, Yi Qingye's mood immediately improved. Afterward, she tried on several dresses with different styles. Without exception, they all received praise. So Chen Yang waved his hand and told the sales assistant to pack up all the clothes Yi Qingye had tried on. "I want all of these clothes. Swipe your card. The PIN is the last 6 digits of your card number." "Sir, you are so good to your girlfriend." The saleswoman was overjoyed. If she closes this deal, her bonus this month will increase significantly. She might even be qualified to compete for the top sales position in the store. As she spoke, the sales assistant worked quickly, stuffing the clothes Yi Qingye had worn into a shopping bag. Subsequently, the transaction was recorded, and the total expenditure was eventually calculated to be 354,800 yuan. The sales assistant swiped Chen Yang's bank card on the POS machine and entered his PIN. "Drop. Bill payment successful. Sir, here is your bank card and receipt. Please keep them safe. We welcome you to visit our Chanel store again." Chen Yang nodded slightly. He helped Yi Qingye carry her shopping bags and prepared to leave. Half an hour ago, Tan Yang and Su Jiali followed Chen Yang and Yi Qingye to the second floor of the mall, where they saw them enter the Chanel store. Tan Yang looked quite surprised by this. Has Chen Yang struck it rich? He just spent 260,000 yuan at the Versace store without even blinking. Now he turns around and walks into the Chanel boutique, It looks like he's planning to buy clothes for Yi Ziohua. Their relationship must be complicated, given their attentiveness and fawning. After figuring this out, Tan Yang immediately took out his phone from his pocket, searched through his contacts, and finally found a contact named Li Xiao and called him directly. "Who are you?" A moment later, the call connected, and a cold voice came from the other end. The speaker was Li Bo, the current student union president of the Department of Business Administration at Shanghai University. "Young Master Li, I am Tan Yang, the class monitor of Class 2, Finance Department, and a friend of young Master Yun. We had drinks at Jade Bamboo Pavilion before. I wonder if young Master Li remembers." Tan Yang lowered his voice and spoke humbly. "Speak, what do you want from me?" Li Bo didn't investigate Tan Yang's identity, but instead went straight to the point and asked Tan Yang the purpose of his phone call. After all, if people who are usually completely unrelated suddenly and abruptly disturb each other, there must be a deeper meaning behind it. Upon hearing this, Tan Yang didn't dare to chat idly. He immediately cleared his throat and asked, "Young Master Li, I heard that you are a suitor of Yi Qingye, the campus belle of the Foreign Languages Department." "Tan Yang, what do you mean by that?" Li Bo's voice suddenly turned colder, making Tan Yang feel terrified. "Young Master Li, please don't misunderstand. The main reason I'm making this call is to share some news with you. I'm at Tianheng Shopping Center right now, and I saw Yi, the school beauty, shopping with Chen Yang from the class next to ours. They were chatting and laughing and seemed very close. They might be dating." Tan Yang tried to calm himself down before speaking slowly. "What? This is impossible." Almost instinctively, Li Bo's roar came from the other end of the phone. "Yi Qingye is such a proud woman. I am not the only one who pursues her. There is also Wu Zhenghao, the son of Hanhai Group, Zai Chen, the second young master of the Zai family of Yuanheng Group, and the son of the deputy mayor, etc. We've been pursuing Yi Qingye by all sorts of means, ever since she started military training in her freshman year. But in the end, none of them succeeded. Now you're telling me that Yi Qingye is actually in a relationship. And what's more, he's dating a poor student from a poor family who needs to rely on school scholarships to make a living. Don't you think this is ridiculously absurd?" No wonder Li Bo reacted so strongly. Yi Qingye's identity is no secret in Shanghai's top circles. That's why she became so sought after, pursued by countless wealthy young men. These scions of wealthy families all swallowed their pride and airs and actively pursued Yi Qingye, but all of them ended in failure. This is not something to be proud of. But now a completely unknown man has appeared, and he is a poor student from a remote town who was admitted to a university in Shanghai. He is not only close to Yi Qingye, but they are also suspected of dating. Losing to someone in the same circle can at least be considered a glorious defeat. But they and Chen Yang were not in the same social class at all. Chen Yang is simply slapping these rich young masters in the face. Chapter 37, Tan Yang informs on the incident, and the school beauty's suitors come knocking. "Young Master Li, I understand everything you're saying, but that's precisely why I'm sharing this information with you so soon. Hearing is unreliable, seeing is believing. If you don't believe me, you can come and see for yourself." Tan Yang knew that someone as proud as Li Bo would never allow a poor boy like Chen Yang to climb up to Yi Qingye. Once Li Bo arrives, given his temper, things will get interesting. "Okay, you keep an eye on them for me now. I'll be there soon." Li Bo couldn't wait a moment longer. After hanging up the phone, I immediately drove to Tianheng Commercial Shopping Center. 20 minutes later, Li Bo and Tan Yang met up across from the Chanel store. "Young Master Li, you've finally arrived." Tan Yang smiled slightly and said respectfully. Li Bo nodded, then asked coldly, "Tan Yang, where are they?" "Young Master Li, Chen Yang and School Beauty Yi are still shopping in the Chanel store. They should be coming out soon." Tan Yang stated the truth. "Let's go in and take a look." Li Bo couldn't wait any longer, and after speaking, he strode forward. Just then, Chen Yang and Yi Qingye finished paying and were walking out of the Chanel store with their shopping bags when they bumped right into Li Bo, Tan Yang, and Su Jiali. "Qingye, what a coincidence. I didn't expect you to be shopping here." Li Bo looked at Yi Qingye and said softly, "Li Bo, what are you doing here?" Upon seeing Li Bo appear, Yi Qingye's expression changed drastically. "I heard from a friend that you were shopping with a poor student and that you seem to be quite close, so I came here specifically to see who this person is, that he could actually catch your eye." After Li Bo finished speaking, his eyes swept over Chen Yang, scrutinizing him carefully. In just a moment, he made his judgment. He's quite handsome with good looks. According to Tan Yang, This kid is ranked first in his class in the finance department. He's not a local. His hometown is a small county in a third-tier city, and his family is of average means. To think that someone like that could win Yi Qingya's favor was, frankly, unbelievable to Li Bo. Li Bo, I don't need your permission to be with whomever I want. Also, I've said it more than once. I have no feelings for you, so please don't bother me anymore. Yi Qingya remained expressionless, her voice carrying a chilling aura that kept people at a distance. She knew that Li Bo was pursuing her not because he liked her, but because he valued the power in her father's hands and the wealth and resources her family had accumulated over the years. Not only him, but also those scions of wealthy and powerful families with distinguished backgrounds and noble status, all harbored the same goal. Yi Qingya hates this kind of person the most. Qingya, you're right. It's your freedom to associate with whomever you want. But it absolutely cannot be this kid in front of me. The reason is simple. You two are from different worlds. He comes from an ordinary family with no connections, and even if he has some ability, he can't possibly overcome the class gap. To gain the approval of your uncle, or even your family, is simply a pipe dream. I'm doing this for your own good. Li Bo's lips curled up slightly, revealing a smile that looked rather insincere. After hearing Li Bo's words, Chen Yang, who was standing next to Yi Qingya, couldn't stand it anymore. He stepped forward, shielding Yi Qingya behind him, then met Li Bo's sharp gaze with a cold laugh. For her own good. Isn't that a bit too high-sounding? Li Bo frowned, a hint of displeasure flashing in his eyes. Chen Yang, I've heard of you. You're a top student in the finance department, consistently ranking first in your grade. Your advisor is Ms. Jiang Ning. You are very talented in the field of finance. You are a rare talent. This means you are a smart person. Qingya's status is 100 times more noble than you imagine. If I were you, I would know better than to leave her side. Otherwise, her suitors alone could find no fewer than 100 ways to ruin you. Li Bo spoke calmly, but his words were full of threat. Before Chen Yang could answer, he changed the subject and continued. You came all the way from your hometown to study at a university in Shanghai, and you've always worked hard and achieved excellent grades. Isn't your goal to find a good job after graduation, join a financial company, and improve your family's financial situation? If you continue to get so close to Qingya, do you know who your enemies will be besides me? Their background and abilities are beyond your imagination. Are you sure you have the right to be their enemy? Yi Qingya subconsciously bit her lip. Although she found Li Bo's words offensive, she was powerless to refute them. Because these are all facts. Chen Yang is indeed outstanding, but what he has to face is far more terrifying than he imagined. Will Chen Yang back down because of Li Bo's words? At this moment, Yi Qingya's heart also wavered slightly. However, at that moment, Yi Qingya found that Chen Yang was holding her hand firmly. Chen Yang was not intimidated by Li Bo's words. He remained calm, but his eyes were full of fighting spirit. Whether I am qualified or not is not for you to decide. Also, I am now Qingya's boyfriend, so please don't bother her anymore. If you have any complaints, come at me anytime. These words were spoken. Li Bo's expression changed drastically. Behind him, Tan Yang and Su Jiali also had expressions of shock on their faces. They never expected that Chen Yang would be so audacious as to provoke Li Bo to his face. This is simply courting death. You need to know. Li Bo's true identity is the young master of the Sihai Group. The Li family behind him is one of the wealthiest families in Shanghai. Their businesses span multiple sectors, including real estate, hotels, restaurants, finance, internet technology, and transportation companies, with a deeply entrenched network of connections and illicit dealings. Such a behemoth was something that even Tan Yang and his family would never dare to offend. But Chen Yang dared to speak so arrogantly. They've gone mad, utterly gone mad. This was the only thought in the minds of Li Bo, Tan Yang, and Su Jiali at that moment. Even Yi Qingya, who knew Chen Yang quite well, was still taken aback by his words. Chen Yang, don't talk nonsense. You absolutely must not get involved in this. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. Yi Qingya said this, but she knew even more clearly in her heart. If Chen Yang is determined to be with her, he will inevitably anger Li Bo and the others, becoming a thorn in their side. This contradiction is ultimately unavoidable. That's why she went to great lengths to keep her relationship with Chen Yang a secret. Because once it gets out, it will have unimaginable consequences. As a result, Chen Yang will also face greater pressure. Chapter 38 with me here, no one can bully you. Qingya, from the moment I decided to make you my woman, I knew this would happen. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. With me here, no one can bully you. Chen Yang patted Yi Qingya's arm, met her gaze gently, and spoke in a calm tone. Chen Yang, you. Yi Qingya hesitated, as if she wanted to say something but then stopped. To be honest, she was very happy to see Chen Yang's sense of responsibility. But this is not the time to show off, because Chen Yang is about to face a devastating attack from the scions of top wealthy families in Shanghai. It's no exaggeration to say that Li Bo could make it impossible for Chen Yang to survive in Shanghai's financial industry with just one phone call. This is a symbol of the family's power and status. Chen Yang is exceptionally talented and capable, but in the face of capital, it's utterly insignificant. Chen Yang, our statuses are vastly different, and I don't want to use my power to intimidate you. If you're smart, don't refuse a polite offer and then suffer the consequences. As long as you agree to leave Qingya's side, I will not only not cause you any trouble, but I will also introduce you to the top financial institutions in Shanghai, allowing you to easily get a high-paying job that others dream of. How? Li Bo believed it. Faced with the choice between love and career, Chen Yang will make the right choice. I'm sorry, I refuse. Chen Yang rejected Li Bo's suggestion without hesitation, putting aside whether Li Bo would actually be that kind-hearted. Secondly, given Chen Yang's current investment capabilities, it is simply impossible for him to be subservient to these financial institutions and work for them long-term. When Tan Yang saw what was happening before him, his heart almost jumped out of his chest. This was a promise personally made by young Master Li. However, Chen Yang rejected him without any hesitation. How dare this guy? Didn't he know that doing this would completely enrage young Master Li? Tan Yang had already noticed that Chen Yang had changed, becoming arrogant and boastful. I never imagined that Chen Yang would dare to offend young Master Li. However, since this guy is courting death, he only needs to step aside and he'll be sure that young Master Li will not let him off the hook. At that time, Chen Yang's fate will be extremely tragic. After Chen Yang loses his job, he will run into obstacles everywhere in Shanghai. His pride and dignity will be completely trampled underfoot, and he will become a spendthrift. By then, no matter how much Liu Ruyan liked Chen Yang, she would never be with him. After all, people strive for higher positions, and water flows downhill. No woman would choose to stay with a man simply because he is gentle, but has accomplished nothing. When that time comes, Tan Yang's chance to win the heart of his beloved will arrive. Chen Yang, you're asking for death. Li Bo's patience had clearly reached its limit. Chen Yang's fearless and arrogant attitude infuriated Li Bo. Don't be eloquent. I told you I will not separate from Qingya. Qingya, let's go. Chen Yang was too lazy to waste any more words with Li Bo. Then he took Yi Qingya's arm and walked towards the underground parking garage. Young Master Li, should we stop them? Tan Yang walked to Li Bo's side and asked softly. Need not. Qingya clearly has a special affection for Chen Yang. If she continues to cause trouble, she will only lose her composure. Let's follow them and see where they're going next. Li Bo stared at their retreating figures, his face extremely gloomy. After saying that, he took a step and followed. Bite. The elevator goes directly to the underground parking garage. Chen Yang walked to the Maybach S680, opened the trunk, and put all the shopping bags he and Yi Qingya were carrying inside. Then the two got into the car. Start the engine, shift gears, lightly press the accelerator, and the car drives towards the garage exit. Just then, Li Bo, Tan Yang, and Su Jiali walked out of the elevator and passed by Chen Yang and Yi Qingya, who were sitting in the Maybach. The top-of-the-line Maybach S680 has a market price of nearly 3 million. Tan Yang exclaimed in surprise. And this car is brand new. Could it be that Chen Yang just bought it? Li Bo frowned deeply. Clearly, this situation was completely unexpected. I remember this kid comes from a modest family. Where did he get the money to buy such a luxury car? Tan Yang shook his head. Young Master Li, I don't know either. Just now, I saw Chen Yang spend 260,000 yuan on a lot of clothes at the Versace boutique. Afterwards, he took Isaiah Ohua to Chanel for a stroll. That means he spent at least several $100,000 today. Now, with this Maybach S680 added to the mix, his net worth is at least 4 million. Li Bo pondered for a moment and said in a serious voice, send someone to investigate in detail where this guy got so much money. Then find a few more people to keep a close eye on him. Report to me immediately if anything happens. If you do this well, I will reward you handsomely. Tan Yang's pupils widened, and a look of surprise appeared on his face. Young Master Li, leave this to me. As the city lights begin to twinkle and night falls, darkness descends. The streets of Shanghai are brightly lit, and bustling with activity. Tianfu Grand Feast. As a popular restaurant in Shanghai, the customers who come here are all wealthy and influential. Chen Yang had booked a table online in advance and then drove Yiqingya over. After giving the receptionist the last few digits of my phone number, I was led to a seat by the window. The upscale tables and chairs, paired with beige lighting, create the perfect ambience. Looking out the window, you can immediately see the bustling streets and crowds below. This environment is perfect for couples on a date. Qingya, what would you like to eat? Chen Yang handed the restaurant menu to Yiqingya and asked. Upon hearing this, Yiqingya glanced at the menu, ordered a few dishes she liked, and then handed the menu back to Chen Yang. Chen Yang added 2 more main dishes, as well as dessert and drinks. After the waiter left, Yiqingya then spoke. Chen Yang, you acted too impulsively in the mall earlier. That Li Bo is the young master of the Li family, a wealthy family in Shanghai. His father is the current head of the Li family, and he is the eldest son. Therefore, he has a very high status in the family. Li Bo is narrow-minded and a wolf in sheep's clothing. You gave him a cold shoulder in public, and I'm afraid he will not let it go easily. It's highly likely they'll plot against you behind your back. Chen Yang smiled and said, Qingya, I understand what you're saying very well. But since things have come to this, we can only deal with whatever comes our way. The Li family is powerful, but they cannot control everything in Shanghai. Give me just a little more time, and I can make the Li family realize that I, Chen Yang, am not so easy to bully. Anyone who dares to mess with me will pay the price. His words were powerful and full of confidence. This immediately piqued Yiqingya's curiosity. Chen Yang, do you have some kind of plan? Yiqingya's beautiful eyes flickered, and she suddenly asked Chen Yang a question. Yes, but it's not convenient to tell you right now. I assure you I did not do this on a whim. I have my own reasons for doing so. If I don't show a tough stance in front of Li Bo today, I'm afraid all your suitors will think that I, Chen Yang, am a spineless coward who can be bullied by anyone. Chen Yang said calmly. Chapter 38, The Heavenly Feast, Dinner Together. What Chen Yang said is true. Li Bo comes from a noble family and exudes arrogance and a sense of superiority. From beginning to end, he never took Chen Yang seriously. He thought he could easily control Chen Yang, but the result was completely beyond his expectations. Li Bo will not act rashly before thoroughly investigating Chen Yang's background. This period was Chen Yang's best chance to catch his breath. With the super all-around system, Chen Yang no longer faces any barriers in learning any skill. As long as you're willing to spend the time grinding, you can increase your proficiency level. A scholar who has been away for 3 days will surely be viewed with new respect. Seeing Chen Yang's confident expression, as if he already had a plan, Yiqingya's lips moved slightly, but in the end, she didn't say anything to persuade him. Fine, let Chen Yang try to solve it himself first. If he really gets into trouble and is forced into a corner, I'll help him then. No matter how much trouble Li Bo causes, he still has to give me some face. However, this is ultimately only a temporary solution. Yiqingya thought to herself. Not long after, the waiter pushed the food cart to Chen Yang and Yiqingya. Each dish was placed on the table. Gentlemen, all the dishes are served. Please enjoy your meal. If you need anything, just let me know. After saying this, the waiter bowed and left. Chen Yang didn't rush to start eating, but looked at Yiqingya with a gentle expression. Qingya, try it and see how it tastes. Yiqingya nodded with a smile, picked up her chopsticks, and started eating stir-fried beef with scallions. As you gently bite into the beef, the broth, infused with a spicy flavor, perfectly showcases its tenderness, smoothness, aroma, and softness. Its flavor is simply irresistible. This beef is very fresh, with a delicate texture and a good chew. It's clear that the chef at this restaurant has excellent culinary skills. After tasting it, Yiqingya gave it high praise. I looked it up online. This Tianfu Feast restaurant is a well-known internet celebrity restaurant in Shanghai. Both the dishes and the ambience are very unique. It is loved by wealthy young men and women, as well as business elites and social celebrities. It can be said that the guests who dine here are all either rich or noble. If I hadn't made some money from stocks, I probably wouldn't have dared to come here to spend money. Chen Yang smiled and said, Chen Yang, you went through a lot of hardship to earn your first pot of gold in the stock market. As a result, you've already spent almost half of it in just 1 day. At this rate, even if you were worth hundreds of millions, let alone 10 million, it wouldn't be enough for you to squander. From now on, you should be more frugal and avoid being too wasteful. Yiqingya thought about it for a while, and finally decided that she should remind Chen Yang. When the poor suddenly become rich, They often exhibit reckless spending and excessive extravagance. If we don't know how to cherish it, this wealth may just be a fleeting thing. Flowers don't bloom for 100 days, and youth never returns. The financial stock market is fraught with hidden risks, and no one can remain a winner forever, not even those financial tycoons who have long been famous and are at the top of the industry. Not to mention Chen Yang, a top student in finance who is about to graduate. Seeing that Yi Qingye was worried about her financial situation, Chen Yang grinned, his smile becoming even brighter. Qingye, you know nothing about my ability to make money. My current wealth far exceeds your imagination. Even if I spend less than 4 million today, I can afford it every day from now on. These words were spoken. Yi Qingye froze, her face filled with shock and disbelief. After a long while, Yi Qingye finally calmed down and looked at Chen Yang, asking, Chen Yang, are you kidding me? Of course, how could I joke about something like this with you? Yesterday, I not only made more than 8 million by trading Hong Kong stocks, but also used the money I made to trade U.S. stocks when the U.S. stock market opened in the evening, earning tens of millions of U.S. dollars. Currently, my net worth is not over 100 million, but given more time, it will definitely not be a problem to reach 100 million. So Qingye, you don't need to worry about me spending all the money. Chen Yang smiled and said casually, what? You actually traded U.S. stocks and made tens of millions of dollars. This is unbelievable. Upon hearing this news from Chen Yang, Yi Qingye remained stunned for a long time. She thought that Chen Yang's nearly 10 million yuan profit from the stock market yesterday was remarkable. But to everyone's surprise, this was just an appetizer. With a trading fund of over 1 million, Chen Yang can earn nearly 10 million in profit. With tens of millions of dollars at stake and investing in U.S. stocks, they were still able to make more than 10 times the profit. With such investment prowess, even among the top financial companies in Shanghai, it would be difficult to find a trader whose skills can rival Chen Yang's. Such ability is something that only the top tycoons at the very top of the financial world can achieve. This means that Chen Yang has the potential to become a financial tycoon. Having figured this out, Yi Qingye felt even more confident that Chen Yang had gained his family's approval. Qingye, I have much more to offer. You'll discover that in the future. Let's eat first, and then I'll take you home. Tonight, I'll continue my battle with U.S. stocks. I want to accumulate initial capital in the shortest possible time. Next, I plan to open a financial investment company and then use that as a starting point to enter Shanghai's financial circle. Step by step, I will become a top player in the financial industry. Now, Chen Yang made no attempt to hide his ambition from Yi Qingye. If Chen Yang hadn't received the cheat code, he might have gone to work at a financial institution after graduation and lived a normal life. But now, his investment skills have reached the world's top level. Ordinary social circles are simply not suitable for him. His goal should not be limited to the domestic financial market, but should extend to international finance. Only there can Chen Yang's investment prowess be fully realized. That being said, you still have to eat one bite at a time. Before he has fully developed his power, if he exposes too much, he will only attract the attention of capital and the powerful, causing him trouble. Therefore, what Chen Yang needs to do right now is to keep a low profile and accumulate capital. When the time is right, it can soar to great heights. At that time, countless powerful figures and capitalists will naturally appear around him. Among these people, some will be fortunate enough to become Chen Yang's allies, providing him with a strong foundation. In return, Chen Yang would bring them enormous profits. Seeing Chen Yang so spirited and full of confidence, Yi Qingye was happy for him. After all, Chen Yang is outstanding in every aspect. His only shortcoming is his ordinary family background. However, if he is exceptionally capable, he can completely make up for this shortcoming. Half an hour later, Chen Yang and Yi Qingye finished their meal, paid the bill, and left. It was around 9 p.m. when I got back to Yulong Garden, and at this point in time, the U.S. stock market just began to open. Chen Yang returned to his room, turned on his laptop, and logged into his stock trading software. The value of the Senar Technology stock he held in his account had risen from $10.10 per share to $11.50 per share. Moreover, it is continuing to rise at a visible rate. Clearly, the positive news about Sena Technology has already been reported by major media outlets and forums in the United States. Capital has smelled the scent of money and has begun to enter the market with its funds. Purchases surged dramatically, showing a strong trend of hitting the daily price limit. Chapter 39. The tumultuous U.S. stock market, a staggering $40 million. Country M. The financial district of New York. Inside the trading room of Novo Financial Corporation. General Manager Damon Norwich and the company's top executives, along with a dozen top traders and a massive amount of capital, were ready to launch their attack. Everyone, the good news about Senar Technology has been revealed. Now all major financial institutions are ambitious and want to win the top prize in this feast. NUO is no exception. In this battle, we must establish the reputation of NU. I promise that the company will allocate 30% of the profits from this operation and distribute them equally among everyone present. For our glory, for our fine wine and wealth, everyone must be alert and give it your all. Damon Norwich's gaze swept over everyone. A moment later, news was announced that excited everyone present. Mr. Damon, rest assured, we are fully prepared for this operation. We're just waiting for your command so we can launch an immediate attack and take a big bite out of Senar Technology. Top trader Kangdi said excitedly, "Okay, very good. I hereby announce that the Wolf Hunt plan has officially begun. Everyone, return to your posts, operate the accounts the company has given you, and buy Senar Technology stock at all costs." At Damon Norwich's command, everyone immediately went into battle mode. Inside the trading room, only the sounds of mice and keyboards clicking could be heard. One group, all funds in the account have been cleared, and the stock of Senar Technology has been successfully purchased. Group 2, account funds cleared, purchase successful. Group 3, account funds cleared, purchase successful. A full $3 billion was completely consumed in just half an hour, turning into shares of Senar Technology. This not only happened at Nor Financial, but also in the trading rooms of various top financial companies in the New York City financial district. On the U.S. stock market, Senar Technology's stock saw a massive influx of funds, with buy orders increasing dramatically. This caused Senar Technology's stock to surge from $10.10 per share to $21.52 per share in just half an hour, and there was no sign of it stopping. Clearly, Senar Technology has become a hot commodity in the eyes of investors. But with more wolves than meat, if you want to get more succulent meat, you have to sweep away some unrelated competitors. This is a typical capitalist tactic. Soon after, some capital began frantically selling off its holdings in an attempt to eliminate certain financial institutions, and the volume of such sell orders was enormous. This action forced the stock of Senar Technology to a halt. Moreover, the mastermind behind the scenes is frantically dumping shares, attempting to use overwhelming force to drive down the stock price, siphon funds from major financial institutions, and force them to voluntarily relinquish their shareholdings and exit the market. Mr. Damon, this is bad. There's a market manipulator behind the scenes. They're planning to shake out all of us. Senar Technologies' stock price has already fallen to $15.20 per share. If it continues to fall, our funds will be severely damaged. I suggest that we sell a portion of our shares immediately to recoup our funds and ensure that our company does not suffer losses in this battle. Kandi's face looked extremely grim. He never expected that the force behind the scenes would disregard the rules and use such a domineering and tyrannical method to force their company to hand over its bargaining chips. Otherwise, we'll exhaust them with massive amounts of money. After eliminating all competitors, they can then drive up the stock price independently to maximize profits. This approach requires extremely substantial funds and also carries the risk of certain losses. But if successful, the profits will be very substantial. Kandai, do as you say. Damon Norwich realized this. The other party is coming on strong, so it must not be ordinary capital. It is most likely the top financial group in the United States that has made a move. Nor Financial's $3 billion may seem like a lot, but in the eyes of real tycoons, it's nothing at all. The opponent was determined to win, so they used any means necessary and fought fiercely. If he doesn't take the initiative to show weakness and give the other party some face, things will definitely get out of his control. At that time, let alone making money, you might have the life to make money but not the life to spend it. This free country harbors all sorts of ugly and dirty practices. Those who don't follow these rules will suffer unimaginable consequences. In an instant, major financial institutions retreated and sold off a portion of their holdings in the market. Soon, it was completely swallowed up by this powerful force. After that, Senar Technology's stock price began to soar. $15.50 per share, $18.80. $25.50 per share, $28.62, $32.50, $35.10. Shanghai Yulong Garden Residential Community. Inside the room, Chen Yang had been closely monitoring the U.S. stock market and Senar Technologies stock price. He witnessed firsthand the process of capital gains and massive funds battling it out. Because of his status as the god of investment, Chen Yang seems to have a godlike perspective, able to understand the reasons behind stock price fluctuations. He did not back down because of panic and persevered to the very end. The time was ripe. Chen Yang placed a sell order at $35.10 per share for all his shares in Senar Technology in his account, and sold them all. While this price still has some room to rise, those with a comprehensive understanding know that the stock price will eventually fall back. This price is the ideal point to sell. As expected, Chen Yang's shares were quickly acquired by capital and returned to his account. The initial investment of $11.5 million grew nearly 3.5 times to $40.25 million. After deducting fees and commissions, he still had $40 million in his investment account. That's equivalent to 280 million RMB. Chen Yang's net worth has finally exceeded 100 million. Get rich overnight. At this time, it was already past 3 a.m. Yi Qingye was already asleep in the master bedroom, so Chen Yang didn't want to disturb her. He could only wait until tomorrow morning to share the good news with her. The next day, at 9 o'clock in the morning, Yi Qingye woke up, washed up, and left the room. The living room was quiet, and no one was in the kitchen either. So she walked lightly to Chen Yang's room door, turned the doorknob, and went inside. Soon, she found Chen Yang sleeping soundly in bed. Chen Yang has handsome features and fair, smooth skin. You can tell he's a great guy even without makeup. Even when she's asleep, her looks are still stunning. For a moment, Yi Qingye was so captivated by what she saw that she subconsciously touched Chen Yang's face. Chen Yang was instantly awakened. He opened his eyes and found Yi Qingye standing in front of him in her pajamas. "Qingye, what are you doing here?" Chen Yang asked curiously. "After I got up, I found no one in the living room, so I came in to see if you were still asleep or if you had gone out." "Sorry I woke you up. Did you go to bed very late last night?" Yi Qingye looked apologetic and said embarrassedly, "Yes, the U.S. stock market made some moves last night, and by the time trading ended it was already past 3 a.m. That's why I overslept." Chen Yang nodded and explained with a smile. "Then do you want to sleep a little longer? For breakfast, I'll just go to the steamed bun shop at the entrance of the community and buy a few buns to make do." Yi Qingye thought for a moment, then felt embarrassed to trouble Chen Yang to get up and make her breakfast. "No need, I've had enough sleep. Please sit in the living room for a while. I'll wash up and then make you breakfast. It will be ready soon." Chen Yang rejected Yi Qingye's suggestion. Before she could respond, he had already gotten out of bed and headed for the bathroom. As Chen Yang was leaving the room, he turned back to look at Yi Qingye and said, "By the way, I made a lot of money from U.S. stocks last night. There are detailed transaction records in my notebook. Qingye, you should take a look. It will definitely give you a big surprise." Chapter 40, Yi Qingye's shock. "I want you to prove it to me." Inside the room, hearing Chen Yang's words, Yi Qingye also became somewhat curious. So she walked to the desk and opened her laptop. The screen lights up, and the stock trading software appears in the program bar at the bottom left. She picked up the mouse and opened the software. The investment account belonging to Chen Yang immediately appeared before her eyes. The U.S. stock account shows a long string of numbers below, 40 million. Yi Qingye rubbed her eyes, almost thinking she was seeing things and hallucinating. She checked again and again and found that the balance in the account was real. 110, 100,000, 10,000, 100,000, million, 10 million. He has 40 million in savings, and it's in U.S. dollars. That's equivalent to 280 million RMB. Even though Yi Qingye came from a wealthy family, she was still deeply shocked by this astronomical figure. It should be noted that Chen Yang's account only had nearly 10 million yuan in deposits yesterday. After deducting the 4 million he spent today, he should only have about 5 million left in savings. But in just one night, the balance in his account has already exceeded 100 million. This is simply unbelievable. Chen Yang, how did he do that? Could it be that he really has an extraordinary talent for stock trading? After being shocked, Yi Qingye gradually came to her senses. She immediately checked Chen Yang's investment account to view the operation records and transaction details. The account back-end records show that Chen Yang's funds have increased significantly in the past 2 days through investments in U.S. stocks. With his first investment in U.S. stocks, his investment account grew from over $1 million to $12.5 million. After setting aside $1 million, he used all of his funds last night to buy shares in a U.S. stock called Senar Technology. This stock attracted a frenzy of buying after the market opened, and its price more than tripled. Because Chen Yang bought in advance, he sold all his shares when the stock price was near its peak, turning them into $40 million and achieving a net worth of over $100 million. I never imagined that Chen Yang would do something so shocking behind my back. No wonder he dared to boast to me last night at dinner that he could afford to spend millions every day. It turns out that he already knew that his investment in U.S. stocks would make him a fortune. As is widely known, the domestic stock market adopts a T+1 system, which means that stocks bought on the same day can only be traded on the next day. U.S. stocks, on the other hand, use a T+0 system, meaning that you can buy and trade on the same day. While the transaction method is more convenient, it also comes with huge risks. Those lacking foresight will be terrified when faced with a stock price crash. If they can't withstand the pressure, their first thought will be to sell their shares to recoup as much capital as possible and minimize losses. On the other hand, those capable and resilient individuals will choose to buy at the bottom when the risk is greatest, just to gain greater wealth. But people's hearts are often unable to withstand the test. The stock price of Senar Technology that Chen Yang bought fluctuated wildly. Even so, Chen Yang did not choose to sell it. This means that Chen Yang was very optimistic about, or rather, convinced that this stock still had room to rise from the beginning. Therefore, he was not misled by temporary rises and falls, but firmly chose to hold, which ultimately resulted in a profit of nearly 3 times. This proves that Chen Yang's stock trading profits were not due to luck. From the very beginning, he had anticipated that this stock would make money, and a lot of money at that. Realizing this, Yi Qingya's opinion of Chen Yang rose even higher. A golden carp is no ordinary fish in a pond. It will transform into a dragon once it encounters wind and clouds. It seems that Chen Yang is even more outstanding than I imagined. At least in terms of financial investment, his abilities far surpass those of many top investment experts. At the same time, after washing up, Chen Yang went into the kitchen. He first took out some ingredients from the refrigerator, washed them with water, and then began to prepare breakfast. Host detected cooking skill plus 100. At this moment, the system's voice rang in Chen Yang's mind. He felt that his cooking skills had improved considerably. System, check my cooking skill level. Host's cooking skill level is beginner, 1500-5000. You are 3600 experience points away from becoming advanced. We hope you will work hard in the future and level up soon. It seems I need to cook more often in the future and upgrade my cooking skills to the advanced level. That way, my dishes will be able to completely outshine those top-level chefs in 5-star hotels. Then, I'll be able to easily win over Yi Qingya's taste. After nearly half an hour of work, Chen Yang brought a pot of red date and black rice porridge, a bowl of steamed egg custard, and 2 servings of Jianbing Guozi, Chinese crepes, to the dining table in the living room. Chen Yang took off his chef's robe and returned to his room. Looking at Yi Qingya sitting at her desk, he smiled slightly and said, "Qingya, I've prepared breakfast. We'll go out for something to eat later." Yi Qingya turned around, her gaze fixed on Chen Yang. After a moment, she slowly spoke. "Chen Yang, tell me honestly, how did you do it? In just 2 days, you turned your initial investment of 1.38 million yuan into 280 million yuan through stock trading. Looking across the entire financial industry, you absolutely cannot find another person who can achieve what you have." Chen Yang remained calm, showing no sign of surprise or excitement. "Qingya, if I told you that all of this was based on my analysis and judgment using the financial market, would you believe me?" Upon hearing this, Yi Qingya did not reply. After a few minutes of contemplation, she said, "Chen Yang, it's not that I don't believe in your abilities, it's just that this matter is truly shocking. You're making money faster than you can rob a bank. To be honest, if I hadn't checked your investment account's transaction history, I wouldn't have believed that someone could turn $1 million principal into hundreds of millions in such a short period of time. Even Su Listen, who is hailed as a financial genius and has now become a financial tycoon, has a record of making a profit of 345 million in 10 days. And the investment funds he used were 50 million, which is 36 times yours. In comparison, Chen Yang's achievements seem like those of a god descended from heaven, a stock market genius reborn. Just because others can't do it doesn't mean I can't. Qingya, the stock market is extremely risky, but behind the risks there are often opportunities. My mind can clearly distinguish between a crisis and an opportunity, and that is the absolute source of my confidence in making profits in the stock market. At this moment, Chen Yang exuded a strong sense of confidence. This aura moved even Yi Qingya. Yi Qingya took a deep breath. After a long pause, she met Chen Yang's gaze and said, word by word, "Fine, I want you to prove it to me. Chapter 41, dare to make a bet with me. If you lose, you kiss me." "No problem. However, let's eat breakfast first. I'll show you how to trade properly after the stock market opens. How about that?" Chen Yang smiled. "Okay, whatever you say." Yi Qingya nodded. Before long, the two came out and sat down at the dining table in the living room to eat breakfast. Yi Qingya drank the porridge, steamed egg custard, and jianbing, Chinese crepe, that Chen Yang had made himself, and found that they tasted countless times better than the takeout she ate outside. Chen Yang noticed that Yi Qingya had a very good appetite. She not only finished all the breakfast he had made, but also looked like she wanted more. "Qingya, you are pregnant now, so you need to make sure you get enough nutrition. I will make you more medicinal meals and nourishing soups later. If there is anything you like to eat, you can tell me in advance." Seeing how much Chen Yang cared for her, Yi Qingya felt even more favorably toward him, so she took the initiative to say thank you. "Chen Yang, thank you." Chen Yang smiled and said, "It was just a small favor, no need to be so polite with me." 10:00 a.m. Chen Yang moved his laptop from the room to the living room table. Under Yi Qingya's watchful eye, he resumed his investment operations. To prove his investment skills, Chen Yang plans to engage in short-term trading. Firstly, it's effective and yields quick returns on investment. Secondly, such an operation is more difficult, as there is no possibility of receiving insider information in advance to conduct fraudulent transactions. "Qingya, watch closely, I'm about to show off." The words had barely left his mouth. Chen Yang then opened his stock trading software and turned his attention to the Hong Kong stock market. After all, the only way to do short-term trading is through the T+0 trading model in Hong Kong stocks. Host detected engaging in stock trading. God of investment, title activated. For short-term trading, we recommend Kangyu Pharmaceutical stock code XXXXXX. The optimal entry price is HK$4, 5 per share, and the optimal exit price is HK$6, 5 per share. See the price chart below, dynamic data. Tianmei Media stock code XXXXXX. The stock price will begin to rise in 10 minutes. The best entry price is HK$8, 5 per share, and the best selling price is HK$14, 5 per share. See the price chart below, dynamic data. Hose spinning, stock code XXXXXX. Due to severe weather at sea, cargo ships and vessels importing spinning yarn from overseas are unable to dock safely and will be stranded at sea for over a month. In the near future, spinning yarn will be in short supply and prices will begin to surge. The optimal entry price is HK$5, 4 per share, and the optimal selling price is HK$12, 4 per share. See the price fluctuation chart below, dynamic data chart. It only lasted a moment. In Chen Yang's eyes, several stocks with great investment value emerged. With his god-like perspective, Chen Yang makes investing effortless. He exchanged HK$200 million from his account and then began placing orders in batches, preparing to buy a large number of stocks. The whole process took less than 10 minutes. The HK$200 million in the account was completely spent. Next, I just wait for the stock price to rise. Once the stock price reaches my target, I can sell it directly, cash out, and leave the market. Chen Yang leaned back on the sofa and said with a relaxed expression, "Chen Yang, are you so certain that these stocks will rise and won't plummet?" Even after witnessing Chen Yang's actions firsthand, Yi Qingya still felt it was unreliable. After all, Chen Yang's transaction was too fast, making it seem rather childish. "Certainly, I have absolute confidence in my analysis and judgment. If you don't believe me, how about we make a bet?" Chen Yang noticed Yi Qingya questioning his investment abilities. A slight smile appeared on his lips as a bold idea suddenly popped into his head. "What are we betting on?" Yi Qingya asked subconsciously. "If my investment makes a profit, then I win. Otherwise, I'll consider it a loss. If I lose, I'll do one thing for you unconditionally. But if I'm lucky enough to win, I want you to kiss me." So how about it, dare to bet with me? Chen Yang looked at Yi Qingye with a playful expression and said. Upon hearing this, Yi Qingye's pretty face flushed red instantly, and she became incredibly shy. You scoundrel! How dare you propose such a bet to me? Chen Yang, however, remained calm and composed. When pursuing girls, you need to be bold, meticulous, and thick-skinned, especially top-tier school beauties like Yi Qingye, the dream goddess of countless losers and rich kids. If you want to successfully win her over, you can't use ordinary, cliched methods. Chen Yang's seemingly unreliable and unorthodox methods are what make him so memorable to Yi Qingye. As the old saying goes, it's not the badness of a rogue that's scary, it's the culture of a rogue. Good men lack romance. Bad men are better at captivating women's hearts. Men like Chen Yang, who are handsome, capable, and skilled at sweet talk, and can provide emotional value to women, are just as devastating to women as nuclear bombs. School beauty Yi, forget about all that. Just tell me directly, do you dare to bet with me? Chen Yang smiled. Fine, I'll see if you're really that good. Yi Qingye thought for a long time. In the end, I made up my mind to take the gamble. She simply didn't believe that Chen Yang could know which stocks would rise and which would fall just by looking at the stock trading software. If Chen Yang were really that good, wouldn't he become a stock market guru? The financial and stock markets will become his ATMs. If Chen Yang is really that capable, she would never let go of such a man. She must hold on to him tightly. If that's the case, what difference would it make if I gave him my whole body, let alone just a kiss? Certainly, Yi Qingye did not believe she would lose. In her view, Chen Yang certainly had some skill in stock trading, but it was impossible for him to only win and never lose. Even top financial gurus can make mistakes. Not to mention, Chen Yang is currently just an undergraduate student majoring in finance. All right, let's wait and see. Chen Yang's smile widened involuntarily. Making money certainly made him happy, but receiving a kiss from Yi Qingye, the school beauty goddess, made him feel even happier than if he had earned $1 billion. Time passed second by second. Soon, the Hong Kong stock market also experienced fluctuations. The stocks that Chen Yang bought have all started to see slight increases. 5%, 10%, 20%, 30%. Just a quarter of an hour. The stock price seemed to have been injected with stimulants and began to soar all the way up, showing no signs of stopping. At the same time, retail investors and Hong Kong businessmen in the market also saw the positive developments. They began to increase their investment and buy these stocks aggressively. The stock price soared like a rocket. Qingye, open your eyes wide and take a good look. Haven't all the stocks I bought gone up? Moreover, it has more than doubled. Now do you still say I got lucky by sheer luck? Chapter 42, Stock Market Profits. Making money faster than robbing a bank. Yi Qingye stared blankly at the red line on Chen Yang's investment account, unable to recover for a long time. Chen Yang's investment actually made a profit. Moreover, all the stocks he bought saw price increases. In less than half an hour, the profit more than doubled. That's faster than robbing a bank. If Yi Qingye hadn't seen it with her own eyes, she wouldn't have believed that investing in the stock market could be so simple. However, she knew very well that it wasn't that stock trading was easy, but rather that Chen Yang had a unique eye and knew which stocks had investment value. Chen Yang, I never expected your investment talent to be so outstanding. It seems I no longer need to worry about your future. Although I lost the bet, but Yi Qingye was not angry. On the contrary, she felt very happy. This means that Chen Yang has gained the approval of his family, giving him a glimmer of hope. Being born into poverty is not a disgrace. A true man is one who can bend and stretch. Chen Yang's temperament, abilities, character, and even his appearance are all top-notch. Now, coupled with his phenomenal investment skills, his humble background will no longer be a problem. Qingye, I am confident that I can bring you and the children a happy life. This is my promise to you, and I will do everything in my power to keep it. Chen Yang spoke with unwavering conviction. A moment later, he looked at Yi Qingye with a smile. You lost this bet, shouldn't you fulfill your promise now? Yi Qingye hesitated for a moment. Then he leaned forward, maintaining a close distance from Chen Yang. Chen Yang, with your current qualities, you could easily win the hearts of all sorts of beautiful women. If you want to continue this journey with me, you will face many difficulties in the future. Are you sure you are mentally prepared? Yi Qingye wasn't trying to scare Chen Yang. She was telling the truth. Leaving aside the top second-generation rich kids in Shanghai, just look at Li Bo and his suitors at school. None of them are easy to deal with. If Chen Yang maintains a close relationship with Yi Qingye, he will undoubtedly become a thorn in their side, and being targeted and antagonized will become the norm. Chen Yang had no power or influence. No one can guarantee how things will develop next. Therefore, Yi Qingye wanted Chen Yang to think it over carefully. This was both a well-intentioned reminder to Chen Yang and a test for him. Certainly, Qingye, actually, I fell in love with you a long time ago. It's just that at that time I didn't know how to appear in front of you. Fortunately, fate intervened, and an accident brought our destinies together. I know this is my only chance. So, no matter what happens in the future, as long as you are willing to believe in me, I will definitely protect you and the child and never let you suffer any injustice. Chen Yang quietly took Yi Qingye's fair and delicate hands in his. His eyes were filled with determination, and he exuded an invisible aura of dominance. This scene suddenly stirred a glimmer of hope in Yi Qingye's previously dormant heart. Okay, then I'll give you a chance. Chen Yang, from now on, we are officially boyfriend and girlfriend. After Yi Qingye finished speaking, she quickly kissed Chen Yang on the cheek. Before Chen Yang could even savor the moment, she ran back to her room with a shy expression and closed the door behind her. Not only did she honor her bet and kiss me, but she even agreed to officially date me. Chen Yang was stunned for a while before he gradually came to his senses. The next second, he jumped up from the sofa, his face full of excitement and agitation. He even doubted whether he was dreaming. Otherwise, how could Yi Qingye, the most beautiful campus belle and goddess of Shanghai University, willingly and proactively agree to become his girlfriend? Master bedroom. Yi Qingye lay face down on the bed, burying her head under the pillow. She still finds it hard to believe what she just did. However, after calming down, she didn't think there was anything wrong with what she did. First of all, Yi Qingye and Chen Yang have already had sex, and she is pregnant. Secondly, Yi Qingye approached Chen Yang with curiosity and anticipation. After these 2 days of brief contact, she discovered that Chen Yang, in terms of appearance, personality, abilities, values, and character, perfectly matched her requirements for a partner. Today, Chen Yang has personally demonstrated his expertise in financial investment. In conclusion, Yi Qingye was very satisfied with Chen Yang in all aspects. In this situation, she certainly couldn't let their relationship drag on any longer. Otherwise, if Chen Yang changes his mind, wouldn't she lose such an excellent potential partner for nothing? The most important point, Yi Qingye realized that she had fallen in love with Chen Yang without even realizing it. No matter what the outcome, I want to give it a try with Chen Yang. Even if we are forced to separate in the end, I will never regret it. After all, this is the first time in my life that I've ever felt attracted to someone of the opposite sex. Living room. Chen Yang gradually calmed down. At this stage, he still needs to focus on his career. Only by having strong personal abilities can one earn the respect of others. None of Yi Qingye's suitors, nor her family and relatives, are benevolent people. If Chen Yang were just an ordinary person, he would be powerless to fight back if he were targeted and suppressed. Only when he becomes strong and has value in the eyes of others will he not be wantonly bullied. Only in this way could he barely be considered to have the ability to protect himself. The first step was to start with the financial and stock markets. By accumulating capital and continuously developing, they attracted the attention of Shanghai's elite circles. That will mark the beginning of Chen Yang's leap across social classes and his rise to become a new elite in Shanghai. Chen Yang checked the Hong Kong stock market and found that the stocks he had invested in were approaching their peak. So they quickly placed a sell order. In less than 15 minutes, all the stocks were sold off and returned to the account as cash. At this point, the funds in Chen Yang's account had increased from the initial 200 million to 430 million. It more than doubled. This is just the beginning, not the limit of Chen Yang's operations. Soon it was noon, and the Hong Kong stock market morning session ended. Just then, the door opened. Yi Qingye wore a pearl-white jumpsuit that perfectly outlined her full breasts. Her long, slender legs were fair and flawless, and she wore a pair of black short heels. That already stunningly beautiful face, capable of captivating a nation, was now adorned with exquisite makeup, making her appear even more elegant and noble. Chen Yang was deeply attracted at first glance. "Chen Yang, shall we eat at home for lunch or go out?" Yi Qingye's eyelashes trembled slightly, and she asked Chen Yang with a delighted expression. "It's clearly too late to cook at this time. How about we eat out for lunch? Tonight, I'll go to the supermarket to buy some ingredients and cook a big meal so you can eat to your heart's content. How about that?" Chen Yang checked the time. Then he spoke to Yi Qingya. Chapter 43, Dining at the Imperial Palace. A chance encounter with Wu Dong. Okay, I'll listen to you. Yi Qingya agreed without hesitation. Immediately afterwards, the two left their home and took the elevator directly to the underground parking garage. Sitting inside the Maybach S680, we drove towards a high-end restaurant in the city. Chen Yang, I see you've been busy all morning. How much money did you make in the stock market this time? Yi Qingya sat in the passenger seat, but instead of looking at the scenery outside the window, she rested her chin on her hand and asked with a hint of curiosity. Not much, only 200 or 300 million. The main reason is that the Hong Kong stock market performed well this morning, with several stocks showing impressive gains. In addition, I currently have a relatively large amount of cash on hand, making it easier for me to manage my funds. As Chen Yang drove, he subtly glanced at Yi Qingya out of the corner of his eye. Seeing her curvaceous and toned figure and rather sexy attire, I couldn't help but feel a little thirsty. He forcefully suppressed his evil thoughts and then spoke calmly. It's only 200 or 300 million, just to pay it back. Sure enough, the financial industry is incredibly profitable. You can make money faster than robbing a bank. No wonder so many people are rushing to enter the financial industry to make money. After all, this industry has almost no costs. It all depends on your insight and skills. If you have the resources and channels, you can achieve financial freedom with just one insider trade. Yi Qingya was shocked. After a long while, he shook his head and sighed. The bigger the storm, the more expensive the fish. The financial market is a zero-sum game, where risks and opportunities coexist. You only see others making money, but you don't see countless people going bankrupt overnight due to stock market crashes, ultimately leading to the destruction of their families and lives. To be honest, stock trading is a form of gambling. It's a gamble on the information you have, your analytical and judgment abilities, and whether you have the courage to go all in. Anyone who can thrive in the financial industry has some real skills and guts. Chen Yang smiled slightly and said, "So you're planning to stay home and trade stocks full-time from now on?" Yi Qingya asked curiously. "That's how it is for now. In a few days, I should register an investment company with main businesses including finance, internet technology, physical manufacturing, and service industries." Seeing how concerned Yi Qingya was about his career development, Chen Yang didn't mind revealing some work-related information to her. After all, they are now officially dating and have become boyfriend and girlfriend. Given this relationship, Chen Yang had no reason to hide it from Yi Qingya. "It seems you've planned everything out. From now on, I'll have to call you President Chen." Yi Qingya smiled charmingly. "No, we don't need to be so polite between us." Chen Yang shook his head and decisively refused. The two chatted and laughed as the Maybach S680 quickly entered the city center and arrived at a private restaurant called Yu Shang Fang. The cost of living here is not low, starting at 2,000 to 3,000 yuan per person. Although the price is high, you get what you pay for. Whether it's the restaurant environment, service, ingredient quality, or chef skills, it's all worth the price. Therefore, this private kitchen is very popular during mealtimes. "Sir, madam, do you two have an appointment?" When the front desk manager saw Chen Yang and Yi Qingya enter the door, he immediately came forward to greet them with a warm smile. "No." Chen Yang decided to dine at Yu Shang Fang, private kitchen on a whim. So there wasn't even enough time. "I'm sorry, esteemed guests, but as it's currently peak dining time, all the private rooms have been reserved in advance. If you don't mind, I can arrange for you to dine in the main hall. Would that be all right?" The front desk manager bowed slightly and spoke in a very respectful tone. "Qingya, what do you think?" Chen Yang didn't mind, but he still asked Yi Qingya for her opinion. After all, Yi Qingya's looks, figure, and temperament would inevitably make her the focus of the restaurant as soon as she appeared. Chen Yang was afraid that she would feel uncomfortable and cause her unnecessary trouble, given the attention she received from the surrounding guests. Yi Qingya frowned slightly, clearly not expecting to encounter such a thing. Just as she was hesitating, "Chen Yang!" A shout rang out from behind Chen Yang and Yi Qingya. Chen Yang subconsciously turned around and saw his roommate Wu Dong and a beautiful girl with a pure appearance, fashionable clothes, and slightly elegant taste walking towards them. "Brother Dong, it's you." Chen Yang looked surprised and asked, "Shouldn't I be the one asking you that question? You've been nowhere to be seen for the past 2 days, and we haven't been able to reach you by phone. We're starting to suspect you've gone off to run a pyramid scheme. Who knew you'd come here to have some fun? And the worst part is, you didn't even call your brothers." Wu Dong rolled his eyes at Chen Yang and said irritably, "Brother Dong, I didn't mean it. I just wanted to wait a few days and find some time to get together with the brothers. Who would have thought I'd run into you here? You guys are also here to eat at this restaurant, Yu Shang Fang." Chen Yang touched his nose, feeling a little embarrassed. "Yes, let me introduce you. This is my girlfriend, Sun Zin, from the Business Administration Department of our school. Zinner, his name is Chen Yang. He is my roommate and also the most popular male heartthrob in the finance department." As Wu Dong spoke, he placed his right hand intimately on Sun Zin's slender waist, a sweet smile on his face. "Chen Yang, hello, I've heard so much about you." Sun Zin's curious gaze fell on Chen Yang, and she looked him over carefully. A moment later, her gaze drifted to Yi Qingye, who was standing next to Chen Yang. The next second, a look of shock and disbelief appeared on her face. "President Yi Yu, what are you doing here?" "Zinner, what a coincidence. I never expected to run into you here." Yi Qingye quickly recognized Sun Zin's identity, a smile curving her lips as she greeted her. "You two know each other?" A hint of curiosity flashed in Chen Yang's eyes as he asked. "Sun Zin and I previously participated in the International English Exchange Club. I was the president, and she was a key member of the club. We worked together for 2 semesters." Yi Qingye nodded slightly, and then took the initiative to explain. And at this time, Wu Dong then realized that the beautiful woman next to Chen Yang was none other than Yi Qingye, the famous goddess of the Foreign Languages Department and the most beautiful campus belle of Shanghai University. Previously, Wu Dong had heard from Zhu Kai that Chen Yang had moved out of the dormitory and was living with Yi Qingye. He didn't take it to heart or make a fuss about it. However, at this moment, Wu Dong and Sun Zin came here to eat and happened to run into them. This suggests that it's highly likely to be true. In addition, Chen Yang suddenly borrowed money from his roommates a couple of days ago, which is most likely related to Yi Qingye. I, Wu Dong, have heard of the famous school beauty Yi, but seeing her in person today, I realized that what was said on the school forum was not all an exaggeration. Wu Dong smiled and said to Yi Qingye. Seeing this, Chen Yang took the initiative to introduce Yi Qingye. "Qingye, this is Wu Dong, my roommate, and also my brother, Chen Yang." Chapter 44, Wu Dong's Kind Words of Advice. The 520 million profit shocked everyone. Chen Yang's introduction of Wu Dong seemed concise, but his words revealed that his relationship with Wu Dong was not just that of roommates. The reason for this was that Wu Dong had taken good care of him during his 4 years of university. Most importantly, of the 1 million yuan that Chen Yang initially invested in the stock market, Wu Dong lent him interest-free. Based on Wu Dong's actions alone, Chen Yang had long considered him a true brother. He will repay this kindness in his own way in the future. "Hello." Yi Qingye smiled and greeted Wu Dong. "Brother Dong, did you book a private room at Royal Pavilion?" Chen Yang asked. "It's booked. What, you couldn't get a reservation? Then you can share a private room with us." "Perfect. It'll be more lively with more people." Wu Dong immediately guessed Chen Yang's idea, so he readily agreed. "Brother Dong, I'm so sorry to have interrupted your date with your wife. We decided to eat here on a whim, so we didn't have time to book a private room. The front desk manager just said that the restaurant is very busy and all the private rooms are booked, leaving only seats in the main hall. I don't mind myself, but I'm worried that Qingye will feel uncomfortable. That's why I'm shamelessly teaming up with you. As compensation, I'll buy lunch today." Chen Yang smiled calmly before explaining to Wu Dong. "It's okay, I understand." Wu Dong waved his hand, not minding sharing a table with Chen Yang and Yi Qingye. Yi Qingye possessed stunning beauty, an elegant figure, unparalleled temperament, and impeccable manners. If she dined in the lobby, she would inevitably attract a lot of attention. Since ancient times, beautiful women have been considered a source of trouble, especially a goddess like Yi Qingye, who is so stunning that she can make countless men dream of her, drive them to lust, and even lead them to do many irrational things. Wu Dong could understand why Chen Yang did this in order to avoid trouble. "Okay, let's go in." Then, Wu Dong gave the front desk manager the reserved private room and the last 4 digits of his mobile phone number. Led by a waiter, the group entered a spacious private room. The private room was well soundproofed, and the noise from outside immediately disappeared. The group took their seats one after another. The waiter placed the menus in front of everyone, then took out a tablet computer to prepare to place orders simultaneously. Chen Yang laughed and said, "Brother Dong, order whatever you and your wife want to eat, don't be shy." "Chen Yang, have you struck it rich? When did you become so generous?" Upon hearing this, Wu Dong became very curious. As Chen Yang's roommate, he knew Chen Yang's situation all too well. Just a few days ago, he was borrowing money from his roommates, but now he's spending lavishly, a stark contrast to his frugal lifestyle. Something must have happened during this time. Brother Dong, didn't I pool some money with the brothers a few days ago? I've invested all of it in stocks. I was lucky and I made a fortune. I originally planned to invite everyone to dinner in a few days, and then announce this publicly. Chen Yang shrugged and smiled faintly. Upon hearing this, Wu Dong's expression froze for a moment. He never expected that Chen Yang borrowed money to invest in the stock market. Chen Yang, I know you're a top student in finance with solid theoretical knowledge, but the stock market is far more unpredictable and fraught with hidden risks than the data and models in books. I know many financial geniuses who were full of enthusiasm when they first entered the stock market, but eventually they all lost everything. As your brother, I advise you to be more cautious. Wu Dong knew that Chen Yang came from an ordinary family and could not provide him with resources or connections. He borrowed a total of 1.35 million yuan from his roommates. If this money is lost in the stock market, even if Wu Dong and the others don't urge him to return it, it will probably severely damage Chen Yang's confidence. This is a difficult hurdle for his career and personal future. As Chen Yang's good friend, Wu Dong did not want to see this happen. Brother Dong, I know you mean well. I appreciate your kindness. But things are not as serious as you think, Chen Yang said casually. When Wu Dong saw that Chen Yang wouldn't listen to his advice, his brows furrowed and his voice lowered. Chen Yang, you are still young. Don't let your desire to make quick money lead you into an abyss of no return. Investing in the stock market is not as fun as it seems. One thought can lead to heaven, another to hell. How many people have ended up with their families ruined and lives destroyed because of stock speculation? I know you have knowledge, ability, and an indomitable spirit. But as the old saying goes, you have to eat one bite at a time. If you try to eat your fill in one bite, you'll choke to death. Chen Yang nodded. Brother Dong, I understand everything you're saying. However, my abilities may be even better than you imagine. Listening to the conversation between Wu Dong and Chen Yang, Yi Qingye couldn't help but reveal a captivating smile. Sun Xin happened to see this scene, so she asked softly, Senior Yi, what are you laughing at? Did Wu Dong say something wrong? Yi Qingye shook her head and said in a melodious voice, If it were before, I would probably have thought the same as Wu Dong. It wasn't until this morning, when I saw Chen Yang put his skills into practice, that I realized just how extraordinary his talent for investing is. Wu Dong, your concerns are not without merit, but for Chen Yang, they are really unnecessary. These words were spoken. Wu Dong and Sun Xin immediately cast curious glances at Yi Qingye. Campus Belle Yi, what do you mean by that? Could it be that Chen Yang made a lot of money in the stock market? Wu Dong pondered for a moment before asking the question. That's right. Chen Yang earned an astronomical sum in just one morning that an ordinary person might not be able to earn in a lifetime. Yi Qingye nodded and answered truthfully. She didn't specify the exact amount. After all, it involved Chen Yang's personal privacy, and she couldn't reveal too much. Wu Dong's eyes lit up, and he immediately became very interested. Immediately afterwards, he pressed Chen Yang for an answer. Chen Yang, is everything Yi Zhaohua said true? Tell me honestly, how much money did you actually make investing in the stock market? Chen Yang grinned and said, Brother Dong, I borrowed a total of 1.35 million from my brothers, plus the 30,000 I saved myself, so my principal was 1.38 million. As of the morning stock market close, the total funds in my account were 520 million. 520 million. When Chen Yang said this amount, Wu Dong, Sun Xin, and Yi Qingye were all shocked and incredulous. Wu Dong and Sun Xin, in particular, never dreamed that Chen Yang could make a profit of 520 million yuan through stock trading. Although Yi Qingye knew that Chen Yang had earned 200 or 300 million yuan that morning, the fact that Chen Yang's personal wealth was as high as 520 million yuan was still completely beyond her expectations. The room fell into a deathly silence. Everyone's eyes were fixed on Chen Yang, as if they had seen a monster. No, he should be called the Great Xia Stock God. Chapter 45, A Meteoric Rise, a double harvest in love and career. In the financial market, a single-day profit exceeding 10 million is a top-tier achievement, even among the most prestigious financial companies in Shanghai. Such talents are all core members of top financial companies. An annual salary of 10 million, plus company bonuses, is just the bare minimum. More importantly, It allows one to gain the favor of company directors and influential figures from higher circles, paving the way to success. Such people usually achieve their success by working their way up in the financial industry for many years, step by step, steadily and surely. Only a small number of financial geniuses have the opportunity to rise to the top overnight. Even so, they are extremely rare. However, Chen Yang is currently a senior in college and has not yet officially entered the financial field. In the eyes of many big shots, he was just a novice, but he defeated the big boss with his own outstanding skills. This is not only unbelievable, it's more like a fairy tale, a miracle. Chen Yang, are you sure you're not joking with me? Wu Dong swallowed hard and asked incredulously. Brother Dong, you've known me for so long, you should know what kind of person I am. Do you think I would joke about something like this with you? Or do you think that with my abilities, I'm only fit to lose money in the stock market? Chen Yang's face was as calm and composed as an ancient well. He knew Wu Dong couldn't believe it. But that's the truth. Only Chen Yang himself knew that if he hadn't activated the system and obtained the title of God of Investment, he would have been in deep trouble. Based solely on the knowledge he gained from school textbooks, he might be able to make money investing in the stock market, but he definitely couldn't earn 520 million. No, Chen Yang, that's not what I meant. I was simply completely blown away by your talent. You should know that every year, the number of finance graduates from the top universities in China is like a swarm of locusts. And these people will go on to work for the top financial companies in China. And as far as I know, there is no one else besides you who can achieve such incredible results at your age. Wu Dong's gaze towards Chen Yang was filled with complexity. There was admiration, envy, and a touch of awe. Wu Dong knew Chen Yang was a talented person from a very early time. A dragon lies hidden in the abyss, but with a single leap it soars into the sky. Wu Dong never dreamed that this day would come so quickly and so suddenly, so much so that it felt unreal to him. Brother Dong, please don't praise me like that. I just happened to be lucky and stumbled upon a few volatile stocks. Chen Yang said modestly, luck is also a part of ability. If you don't have enough courage, you won't be able to seize this opportunity, let alone make a profit of 520 million. Don't be so modest in front of your own brothers. Wu Dong knew that Chen Yang was always low-key, so he didn't take what he said to heart at all. Knowing that Chen Yang not only didn't lose money in the stock market, but also made a fortune, Wu Dong's original worries immediately vanished. Instead, a sense of pride and satisfaction arose. He wasn't so petty as to be unable to bear seeing Chen Yang do well. On the contrary, he wanted Chen Yang to succeed more than anyone else, so that he could feel secure in clinging to his coattails. Brother Dong, please keep this a secret for me. Tomorrow, I'll treat you, Zhu Kai, and Brother Liang to dinner, and I'll also pay you back the money I borrowed from you before. Chen Yang made a request to Wu Dong. No problem. Wu Dong nodded directly and readily agreed. Shortly after, the door to the private room was pushed open, and a waiter pushed a food cart in. One delicious dish after another was placed on the dining table. Steamed pork with crystal, steamed hairy crab, stir-fried lobster with scallions, braised sea bass, sea cucumber, and 4 happiness meatballs. These dishes are all visually appealing, fragrant, and delicious, making them incredibly tempting. Everyone was starving, so they greeted each other and began to eat heartily. Yu Shangfang as expected of a famous private restaurant in Shanghai. The dishes are top-notch. Despite his rudimentary cooking skills, Chen Yang could tell that these ingredients were all carefully selected premium products, cooked with the chef's superb skills, and that they tasted no worse than his own. Chen Yang, the food at this restaurant tastes just as good as yours. After tasting each dish, Yi Qingya quickly made a judgment in her mind. This means that Chen Yang's culinary skills are fully comparable to those of the head chef at Yu Shangfang. What? Chen Yang, you can cook? Wu Dong stared wide-eyed, feeling as if he were meeting Chen Yang for the first time. Throughout his 4 years of university, he never realized that Chen Yang was actually proficient in this skill. Poor children learn to be independent early. I can cook, isn't that normal? What's the big deal? Chen Yang pursed his lips slightly, revealing a faint smile. To receive such high praise from school beauty Yi, your cooking skills must be quite impressive. Chen Yang, you can't forget your friends for the sake of a pretty girl. When you have time, show us what you've got so we can all see for ourselves. Wu Dong noticed that Chen Yang was becoming increasingly mysterious. Not only has he shown amazing talent in the financial market, but he also has considerable skill in cooking. Is this still the same Chen Yang, who was his classmate for 4 years? Isn't that a bit too well hidden? Don't worry, once I buy a new house, I'll definitely invite all the brothers over to celebrate. I'll cook for you, and you can order whatever you want. Chen Yang's personal wealth has now exceeded 100 million yuan, making him a true tycoon. Buying luxury cars and living in mansions has become standard practice for him. Although the environment of Yulong Garden is not bad, it is still significantly different from luxury apartments and detached villas. If his financial situation allowed, Chen Yang naturally wanted to live in a more spacious and comfortable place with Yi Qingye. In addition, there is an even more important reason. The more upscale the villa residential area, the higher the security level. This is essential for Chen Yang and Yi Qingye, as it aims to prevent harassment from strangers and avoid inconvenience to their daily lives and travel. Okay, I'll remember that, Wu Dong said with a smile. They ate and drank their fill. Chen Yang and his group left the private room, went to the restaurant's cashier, paid the bill, and then walked out the door. Wu Dong took out the keys to his BMW X6 and asked Chen Yang, "Where are you two going? I'll give you a ride." Chen Yang shook his head, then took out the Mercedes Maybach car key from his pocket and deliberately waved it in front of Wu Dong. Then he chuckled and said, "Brother Dong, what a coincidence, I just picked up a new car yesterday, so I appreciate your kindness." Wow, a Mercedes-Benz S-Class sedan, a Maybach S680. At the current market price, you couldn't buy one for less than 3 million, right? Chen Yang, I suddenly feel like my BMW X6 isn't so appealing anymore. Wu Dong looked at Chen Yang with a mixture of envy and jealousy. I envy his current success. He not only owns his own Maybach luxury car, but also has a stunningly beautiful girlfriend like Yi Qingye by his side. It can be said that she has achieved success in both love and career. Chapter 46. Wang Zhang is shocked. President Liu calls, taking the initiative to invite him. Chen Yang chuckled awkwardly, without saying much. As Wu Dong and Sun Xin watched, they walked toward the Mercedes Maybach S680 parked not far away. He pressed the car key, opened the car door, and let Yi Qingye sit in the passenger seat. He then got into the driver's seat, started the engine, and skillfully shifted gears. The Maybach S680 drove slowly and gradually disappeared into the traffic. At the same time, Dingfeng Securities Co., Limited. Manager Wang Zhang has been following General Manager Liu's instructions and closely monitoring Chen Yang's investment activities. So after lunch, he immediately returned to his office and used his back-end privileges to check Chen Yang's account transaction records. You won't be surprised if you don't look, because once you do, you'll be shocked. In just 2 days, Chen Yang's investment account has grown from nearly 10 million yuan to 520 million yuan. Am I seeing things? Just the day before yesterday, Mr. Chen's investment account only had a little over 9 million yuan. In such a short time, the account balance has exceeded 100 million. Moreover, it has reached 520 million. Did Mr. Chen use leverage to precisely buy at the bottom, or did he buy some speculative stock? How is it possible to achieve such high profits? Wang Zhang was so shocked that he was speechless. He was afraid that he was seeing things, or that there was some malfunction in the system, so he checked it again and again. As a result, he used his back-end access to see that Chen Yang had been aggressively selling off U.S. stocks in the past 2 days. On the first day, it made a profit of tens of millions of U.S. dollars, which is equivalent to more than 70 million RMB. The following day, early this morning, the profit reached 40 million U.S. dollars, equivalent to 280 million RMB. And then there's the morning, after the Hong Kong stock market opens. 200 million yuan was used for short-term trading, and in just one morning, another 200 or 300 million yuan was earned. This efficiency, is simply astonishing. This made Wang Zhang wonder if Chen Yang had obtained some inside information from somewhere. Otherwise, how could he have so accurately predicted which stock would surge and made huge profits from it? Wang Zhang has been working in the financial industry for 6 or 7 years. Having risen from a trader to my current position as a business manager, I've seen quite a few so-called investment geniuses. However, in terms of both their record and their operational skills, they were 1,000 times inferior to Chen Yang. Even the top traders in Shanghai's leading financial institutions might not be able to match Chen Yang's precision and efficiency. No, this matter is of great importance, and I must report to General Manager Liu immediately. This thought came to mind. Wang Zhang immediately took out his phone and dialed the number of General Manager Liu Jindong. Beep, beep, beep. The phone rang for several seconds, but no one answered, which made Wang Zhang feel a little impatient. Just when Wang Zhang thought he couldn't get in touch with General Manager Liu, the call was answered. Manager Wang, what brings you here? Soon, on the other end of the phone came Liu Jindang's deep voice. Mr. Liu, I'm sorry to bother you at this time, but I have something very urgent to report to you. Wang Zhang tried his best to calm himself down. After a moment, he spoke slowly. Speak, what is it? Liu Jindang didn't mince words and went straight to the point. Mr. Liu, do you still remember Mr. Chen Yang, who opened an account with our Dingfeng Securities Company the day before yesterday, invested 1 million yuan in Hong Kong stocks, and made a profit of nearly 10 million yuan? Wang Zhang asked cautiously. Of course, could it be that he's involved in the emergency you mentioned? Liu Jindang quickly realized what was going on and tentatively said, That's right, Mr. Liu. Didn't you tell me to pay close attention to his investment moves? I just used my back-end access to view Mr. Chen's investment account and transaction records. The results completely overturned my understanding. This is a very important matter, and I would like to report it to you in person. Wang Zhang spoke with a humble expression. Wait, I'll be right back at the company. After saying that, the call was immediately disconnected. 15 minutes later, the door to Wang Zhang's office was pushed open, and Liu Jindang strode up to Wang Zhang. Upon seeing this, Wang Zhang quickly got up from his seat, walked to the water dispenser in the corner, filled a disposable cup with water, and handed it to Liu Jindang with a fawning expression. President Liu, please sit down. Have some water to soothe your throat. Liu Jindang nodded slightly, took the water glass and drank it. Then he looked directly at Wang Zhang and said in a serious voice, Wang Zhang, what exactly were you trying to say on the phone just now? Wang Zhang smiled obsequiously and then said, President Liu, let me show you something, and you'll understand why I've bothered you. After saying that, Wang Zhang then turned on his office computer screen and brought up Chen Yang's investment account and transaction records. Upon seeing the scene before him, Liu Jindang's expression changed drastically, and he almost slid off his seat and onto the floor. Is this all real? In just 2 days, with only a few trades, I made hundreds of times my initial investment. Even if the stock market guru were alive today, he wouldn't be any better than this, would he? Wang Zhang nodded in agreement. President Liu, this Mr. Chen is not old, but his abilities are extraordinary. I even suspect that he got inside information from somewhere in advance, so that he could accurately buy at the bottom and maximize his profits. Liu Jindang carefully reviewed the transaction records and the data updates of the stocks that Chen Yang had invested in. He discovered that Chen Yang's methods were very skillful, not at all like a novice who had just entered the stock market. Each time, they managed to buy at the lowest price and sell near the highest limit-up price. The difference between the inflow and outflow of funds multiplied Chen Yang's investment account several hundred times, a textbook example of skill that seemed almost miraculous. Wang Zhang, you did a great job. I'll give you credit for this. I'll decide on this quarter's bonus, double it. Liu Jindang snapped out of his daze. He displayed a clear sense of reward and punishment, and proactively increased Wang Zhang's bonus. Thank you, Mr. Liu. After receiving tangible benefits, Wang Zhang was overwhelmed with gratitude and couldn't stop smiling. Okay, don't make a fuss about this. Just pretend you don't know anything. Liu Jindang gave the order. Understood, Wang Zhang nodded. Not long after, Liu Jindang left Wang Zhang's office and went to his own office. After hesitating for a moment, he took out his phone, found Chen Yang's contact number and dialed it. On the other side, Chen Yang and Yi Qingye were on their way back to the Yulong Garden residential area. However, at that moment, his cell phone rang in his pocket. He held the steering wheel with one hand and took out his phone with the other, and saw that the caller ID showed it was Mr. Liu from Dingfeng Securities. I pressed the answer button without hesitation. Mr. Liu, is there something you need? Chen Yang asked with a curious look. Mr. Chen, do you have a moment now? I'd like to invite you for a cup of coffee, and we can sit down and have a good chat. Liu Jindang is the general manager of Dingfeng Securities, a high-ranking and prestigious position. Normally, anyone who wants to see him has to call ahead to make an appointment and wait in line. However, this person of such esteemed status took the initiative to extend an invitation to Chen Yang, even going so far as to lower himself. If this scene were seen by outsiders and spread, it would surely cause a huge sensation. Chapter 47. A 5 million annual salary plus a 30% share of investment profits. Liu Jindang's voice clearly reached Chen Yang's ears. This made Chen Yang frown slightly, wondering what Liu Jindang's intentions were. Chen Yang pondered for a moment, thinking that having more friends meant having more options, and that he would inevitably have to deal with Liu Jindong again in the future. Finally, he nodded. Since Mr. Liu has extended such a kind invitation, I will make time to meet with you, no matter how busy I am. Seeing that Chen Yang agreed to meet, Liu Jindong's face beamed with a smile, and his mood became pleasant as well. After a moment, Liu Jindong continued, Mr. Chen, let's meet at a coffee shop called Cuban Romance near the IAPM Financial Center. How? Chen Yang readily agreed. No problem, Mr. Liu, see you in a bit. See you later. The call ended. Chen Yang placed his phone directly in the gear shift compartment of the car. Then he glanced at Yi Qingye and saw that she looked curious but hesitant. He then explained, the person who called me just now was Liu Jindong, the general manager of Dingfeng Securities. He asked me to meet him at a coffee shop, probably to discuss investment matters. Qingye, do you want to come with me? Upon hearing this, Yi Qingye immediately understood. Chen Yang opened an investment account at Dingfeng Securities, so his trading records could be kept secret from others, but not from this company. For financial institutions like these, performance and talent are their top priorities. In just 2 days, Chen Yang used $1 million yuan of startup capital to generate hundreds of millions of yuan in profits. Such skill naturally escaped the notice of those in finance. Liu Jindong invited Chen Yang to meet, firstly to befriend him, and secondly, possibly with the intention of collaborating. Regardless of his intentions, Chen Yang held absolute initiative. He could even use this opportunity to get to know Liu Jindong and expand his network in Shanghai's financial circles. Thinking of this, Yi Qingye felt genuinely happy for Chen Yang. Sure, I'll be bored at home anyway. Instead of doing that, I'd rather go with you and broaden my horizons. Yi Qingye agreed almost without hesitation. 20 minutes later, the Maybach S680 arrived at the coffee shop following the navigation. He stepped out of the car. Chen Yang and Yi Qingye walked side by side toward the coffee shop. Not long after, the two entered the hall. Chen Yang glanced around but didn't see Mr. Liu. Just as he took out his phone to call Mr. Liu, a staff member approached and asked respectfully, Excuse me, are you Mr. Chen Yang? Upon hearing this, Chen Yang nodded. Yes, that's me. Mr. Liu has been waiting in the private room for quite some time. Please come this way. The words were spoken. The staff member then gestured for them to pass and made way for them. Afterwards, Chen Yang and Yi Qingye were led by staff into a quiet passage, eventually arriving at the door of a private and quiet room. The staff knocked on the door and then opened it. After Chen Yang and Yi Qingye went inside, they gently closed the door. The private room was spacious, luxuriously decorated, and elegantly laid out, making it ideal for business discussions. A man in his early 40s, dressed in a black suit, immediately stood up from his seat, walked towards Chen Yang with a warm expression, and extended his hand. The man was Liu Jindong, the general manager of Dingfeng Securities. Liu Jindong has a square face with a lot of fleshy features, and he wears silver-rimmed glasses. He was slightly overweight and looked quite prosperous, clearly having attended many drinking parties and dinners. Mr. Chen, you are truly a young man of great talent. It's a pleasure to meet you. I am Liu Jindong, the general manager of Dingfeng Securities. Liu Jindong's gaze fell on Chen Yang, scrutinizing him carefully. Seeing that he had earned hundreds of millions in assets in the stock market at such a young age, I couldn't help but feel a sense of admiration. Mr. Liu, you flatter me. Let me introduce you. This is my girlfriend, Yi Qingye. Chen Yang shook hands with Liu Jindong and replied humbly. At the same time, she introduced Yi Qingye to Liu Jindong. Liu Jindong then noticed that standing next to Chen Yang was a young woman with delicate features, snow-white skin, and beauty that was like a fairy. Pure, dignified, and noble. These words are absolutely perfect for describing Yi Qingye's temperament. Even though Liu Jindong has seen countless beauties, he has never seen a goddess like Yi Qingye who is all natural and doesn't need any medical surgery. Liu Jindong was stunned, and it took him several seconds to come back to his senses, realizing she had lost her composure in front of Chen Yang, and in an effort to salvage her image, she quickly composed herself and praised him with a smile. Miss Yi is stunningly beautiful, like a fairy. Her charm is in no way inferior to that of a top star. Mr. Chen, you are so lucky to have found such a beautiful girlfriend. Chen Yang and Yi Qingye smiled knowingly. Waiter, Liu Jindong called out towards the door. Mr. Liu, what are your instructions? The staff quickly entered the room and stood in front of Liu Jindong. Please have a seat, gentlemen. Would you like something to drink? Liu Jindong quickly invited them to sit down. Chen Yang said softly, "Give me a glass of lemonade." Yi Qingya, "A glass of juice." "Please wait a moment, guest." After making a note, the staff member turned and left the room. Before long, the drinks were served to Chen Yang and Yi Qingya. After that, he quietly left. "Mr. Chen, I heard from our company's manager, Wang Zhang, that you are currently a senior majoring in finance at Shanghai University." Liu Jindong exchanged a few polite words before getting straight to the point. Chen Yang nodded and replied calmly, "That's right." Liu Jindong's expression changed slightly, and a hint of seriousness flashed in his eyes. "Mr. Chen, if I may be so bold, what are your plans after graduation?" Chen Yang shrugged. "I haven't thought about it yet. I wonder what you mean by that, Mr. Liu." "Mr. Chen, after you opened an account with Dingfeng Securities, you plunged into stock market investment and made a lot of profits from it. To be honest, that's really remarkable. If possible, I would like to invite you to join our company on behalf of Dingfeng Securities. I'll offer you a 5 million annual salary, plus a 30% share of the net profit from each investment project." Liu Jindong cleared his throat and spoke to Chen Yang with utmost sincerity. This salary and benefits are definitely not low, even compared to other major financial institutions in Shanghai. Moreover, Chen Yang is currently only a senior in college. If this news gets out, it will definitely cause a sensation in the industry. After all, there is absolutely no precedent for this. However, if they knew Chen Yang's actual achievements in the stock market, they would not think that Dingfeng Securities was crazy, but would think that it was too petty, spending a fortune to buy a horse's bones. Top financial companies, in particular, are willing to pay any price for these talented and capable financial geniuses. Chapter 48. Chen Yang politely declines. His goal, to become a capitalist and control his own life. Don't be fooled by the 5 million annual salary offered to Chen Yang by Dingfeng Securities, plus a 30% share of the profits from investment projects. The price is not low, but Chen Yang's value far exceeds these conditions. In just 2 days, Chen Yang made 520 million yuan from stock market investments with only 1 million yuan. If he were to join Dingfeng Securities, and if he had enough funds at his disposal, the profit he could earn for the company in a single month would far exceed his annual salary. Therefore, the terms offered by Liu Jindong are unimaginably high for ordinary people. But for someone as talented as Chen Yang, it's not so much high as low. "Mr. Liu, thank you for your appreciation, but I currently have no intention of joining a financial company." Chen Yang met Liu Jindong's gaze and spoke calmly. After making hundreds of millions through stock market investments, money is now just a string of numbers in Chen Yang's eyes. He knew full well that with his abilities, making a fortune in the stock market would be as easy as taking candy from a baby. Therefore, he did not want to become a tool for anyone to make money. Instead, they want to become true capital, to firmly control their own destiny. "Mr. Chen, if you are not satisfied with this condition, we can discuss it further. There is no need to refuse so quickly." Liu Jindong was quite surprised to see Chen Yang speak so bluntly. He was used to the art of back and forth maneuvering in the business world. However, Chen Yang did not give him any chance to show his skills. With just one simple sentence, Liu Jindong's escape route was completely blocked. Liu Jindong felt as if he had punched cotton without making any waves. "Mr. Liu, it's not a matter of whether the conditions you offered are good or bad. It's just that I'm a free spirit and don't like being controlled. Besides, I've already achieved financial freedom through my own investment in the stock market. Therefore, there's even less reason for me to make things difficult for myself." Chen Yang shook his head slightly. Once he has made up his mind, he will never easily change it. Before the system was activated, he probably would have accepted such a high salary without hesitation. And after joining the company, he would have leveraged his exceptional talent to rise through the ranks and reach the pinnacle of his career. But now, Chen Yang has activated the system and possesses the title of God of Investment. If he wanted to, earning billions or even trillions of dollars would only be a matter of time. Therefore, he shouldn't join a company and work like a beast of burden, but rather take control of his own life and live the life he wants. Upon hearing this, Liu Jindong couldn't help but smile wryly. Even he felt that Chen Yang's words made a lot of sense. An average person wouldn't spend 520 million in their entire life. This amount of money is more than enough for Chen Yang to live a very comfortable life. Even though the expenses are huge, it's not a problem at all given his earning power. Once he realized this, Liu Jindong understood just how ridiculous his decision to invite Chen Yang to join Dingfeng Securities was. "Mr. Chen, I apologize for my abruptness." Liu Jindong looked apologetic and said embarrassedly, "It's all right. Mr. Liu, you're just valuing talent and doing it for the company's good, I understand." Chen Yang smiled calmly and praised Liu Jindong. Upon hearing this, Liu Jindong was immediately delighted, thinking that Chen Yang had a very high EQ. Seeing that his invitation had failed, he didn't mind befriending Chen Yang, as there might be opportunities for cooperation in the future. Yi Qingye sat next to Chen Yang and listened to Chen Yang and Liu Jindong's conversation the whole time. At that moment, she realized that serious men exude a charm that deeply attracts her. After a while, the talks were drawing to a close. Chen Yang stood up, shook hands with Liu Jindong, and then left with Yi Qingye. "Qingye, I don't plan to work this afternoon. Since it's still early, how about we go look at some apartments?" Inside a Maybach S680, Chen Yang checked the time. It was 2:22 p.m. and the real estate company staff were all at work. He was also thinking of buying a house, so he simply suggested it to Yi Qingye. "I rented an apartment in the Yulong Garden complex for 6 months straight, and I've only lived there for less than 3 months. Is it too early to buy a house now? Besides, didn't you say you're planning to start your own company? Wouldn't it be better to have some extra funds on hand for unforeseen circumstances?" Yi Qingye did not rush to agree. In her opinion, the apartment they are currently renting is perfectly adequate for the two of them, and there is no need to spend money or rush to buy a new house. "That won't do. No matter how nice the neighborhood is, it can't compare to the comfort of living in a luxury apartment or a detached villa. Besides, with the funds I have right now, buying a house is not a problem at all. Most importantly, the property management and security in luxury villa areas are more secure." Chen Yang shook his head, his thoughts completely opposite to Yi Qingye's. He knew in his heart that Yi Qingye didn't dislike living in a more luxurious and comfortable house, but rather didn't want him to spend too much money. After all, this money was earned by Chen Yang through hard work. "Qingye, don't feel bad about me spending this money. I told you before that you and the baby in my belly are my motivation to earn money. If you're always reluctant to spend the money I earn, then tell me, what's the point of me earning all this money? Do you expect me to spend money on other women before you'll be happy?" Upon hearing this, Yi Qingye's expression immediately turned ugly. "You dare?" Seeing Yi Qingye's strong reaction, Chen Yang knew that his provocation had worked. So striking while the iron was hot, he continued, "Qingye, even if you don't think about yourself, you should think about the baby in your belly. The baby is only 2 months old now, so it won't affect your daily activities. But over time, it will inevitably cause inconvenience to your life. The apartment we rent is spacious enough for 2 people. But what if we hire a housekeeper or your best friend comes to visit? Where will they find a place to stay? Since you have to buy it sooner or later anyway, why not buy it sooner and enjoy it sooner?" Yi Qingye fell silent. Even she herself felt that what Chen Yang said made a lot of sense. Moreover, he has a more comprehensive and long-term perspective on issues. "Okay, let's go look at the houses next." A long time, Yi Qingye finally relented and agreed to go house hunting with Chen Yang. Hongfa Real Estate Group is a leading real estate company in Shanghai. The group has developed various high-end residential projects. It features luxury apartments, luxurious single-level houses, and detached river view villas. Among them, the most famous are Thompson Riviera, Phase I to Phase IV of Qiuhu New Garden, and OCT Villa District. In these prime locations, houses start at 200,000 to 300,000 yuan per square meter, with the most expensive reaching 500,000 yuan per square meter. This is home to top-tier entertainment star Lin Wangqing, award-winning actor Bai Yi, and top director Zheng Gang. There's also financial tycoon He Jun, tech tycoon Feng Yushin, hotel mogul Li Muhua. You could say that those who can live in these mansions are all top performers in their respective industries, possessing connections and wealth that are unimaginable to ordinary people. Therefore, the houses here are not just residences, but also symbols of wealth and status. Chapter 49. A detached villa in OCT, a top-tier luxury mansion worth 250 million. Half an hour later, the Maybach S680 arrived at the Hongfa Group Sales Center. Yi Qingye took Chen Yang's arm, and the two walked into the hall side by side. At this time, the lobby was filled with men, women, and children looking at apartments. Sales exhibit 2 extremes. The ordinary residential buildings and sales offices were packed with people, but the luxury apartments and detached villas in the corner only had a few scattered customers. Of course, this is normal. After all, most people are ordinary citizens, and with their assets, they can only afford ordinary housing. Families with better economic strength can choose houses in better locations. Even so, most of them still need to apply for loans from banks. In reality, very few people are truly wealthy enough to afford a luxury house, costing hundreds of thousands per square meter. Chen Yang and Yi Qingye walked towards the luxury home sales area. Such a handsome man and beautiful woman, especially so young, immediately attracted the attention of the sales staff as soon as they appeared in the sales area for luxury apartments and detached villas. Before anyone else could react, sales manager Lin Qiu trotted forward in her high heels, greeting them with a warm smile. "Hello, handsome man and beautiful woman. I'm Lin Qiu, sales manager from Hongfa Real Estate Group. Are you here to look at properties?" Chen Yang nodded slightly, then said, "Manager Lin, do you have any ready-built houses here? I'd like to buy a detached villa, preferably one that's been renovated for more than 6 months so I can move in immediately. The house is a bit close to Shanghai's financial center, and there are complete supporting facilities nearby, such as large shopping malls, supermarkets, and hospitals." Upon hearing this, Lin Qiu was overjoyed. Users have clear needs and show a strong willingness to buy. This is practically a huge customer delivered right to our door. In just a moment, Lin Qiu made a clear judgment about Chen Yang. As for why we don't doubt Chen Yang's financial strength to buy a luxury house, one reason is that Chen Yang is wearing an international brand like Versace, an outfit that costs 70 or 80,000 yuan. Secondly, Chen Yang is tall and slender with an outstanding appearance, exuding the air of a wealthy young master. Thirdly, Yi Qingye is exceptionally beautiful, with a graceful figure and snow-white skin, resembling a fairy descended from heaven. At first glance, you can tell that she has an elegant demeanor and comes from a noble family. As a qualified real estate salesperson, being able to discern a client's financial strength and taste is a fundamental skill. In summary, Lin Qiu could immediately tell that Chen Yang and Yi Qingye were both wealthy and powerful, possessing immense purchasing power. "May I ask your surnames, handsome young man and beautiful young lady?" Lin Qiu suppressed his excitement and asked respectfully, "My surname is Chen, and my girlfriend's surname is Yi." Chen Yang replied with a smile, "Young Master Chen, Miss Yi, I understand your needs. Please, both of you, take a short rest on the sofa." Lin Qiu smiled slightly and led Chen Yang and Yi Qingye to a high-end sofa to sit down. At the same time, she called out to her colleague next to her, "Xiaomai, bring 2 bottles of mineral water to the guests." "Okay, Manager Lin." Soon, a young and beautiful woman handed bottled water to Chen Yang and Yi Qingye. At this moment, Lin Qiu also pulled up several sets of luxury villa information that met Chen Yang's needs from the tablet. "Young Master Chen, Miss Yi, this is the OCT villa area developed by our Hongfa Real Estate Group. There are several vacant detached villas here that would perfectly suit your requirements. Gentlemen, please feel free to take a look." After saying that, Lin Qiu handed the tablet computer to Chen Yang. Chen Yang took the tablet and looked at the detailed villa layout diagrams, as well as the villa interior video, which was filmed in high definition by a dedicated staff member. Judging from the layout and decoration, it is clearly a European modern architectural style. Simple, elegant, understated, and luxurious. It perfectly matches Chen Yang's impression of a luxury mansion. "Manager Lin, how many square meters is this villa? What is its market price?" Chen Yang felt that the decoration and layout of this villa were quite in line with his taste, so he asked Lin Qiu with a curious look. Lin Qiu leaned forward slightly and introduced with respect, "Young Master Chen, this villa covers an area of 720 square meters and has a total of 4 floors, including 1 basement level and 3 floors above ground. The market price is 350,000 yuan per square meter, and the total price of the villa is 252 million yuan. If you are interested in purchasing, I can use my authority to apply for the maximum discount for you." As one of the top luxury residences in Shanghai, OCT Villa District boasts a comprehensive range of amenities and a prime location. Moreover, the architectural style, interior decoration, sofas, appliances, kitchenware, air conditioning, and air exchange system of the mansion are all top-notch. It's no exaggeration to say that. Aside from the high price, the villas here are flawless. Yoga room, gym, private cinema, karaoke room, card room, billiards room, wine cellar, maid's room, cloakroom, private swimming pool. All kinds of supporting facilities are available. To be honest, Chen Yang was very tempted. However, this was only the first villa Chen Yang had looked at. There were many other options, so he wasn't in a hurry to make a decision. Qingya, take a look too. Chen Yang then handed the tablet to Yi Qingya so that she could experience the charm of this top-tier luxury mansion. Yi Qingya glanced at it a few times and was also shocked by the luxury of the villa. Chen Yang, even though you're not short of money right now, is it really necessary to buy such a luxurious villa? This mansion is worth 250 million. Don't you think it's too expensive? After a moment, Yi Qingya withdrew her gaze and looked at Chen Yang, exclaiming in amazement. It's a bit pricey, but it's worth the price. Qingya, I've said it before, I want you and the children to have the best life. This luxury villa is just the beginning. In the future, I will buy you more luxury cars and mansions, so that you will never have to worry about money again. I'll take care of earning money to support the family, and you take care of being beautiful. Let's divide the work and make a good life together. Chen Yang took Yi Qingya's fair and smooth hand in his own. His eyes filled with love and tenderness, and he spoke with a firm voice. After hearing this, Yi Qingya was both happy and a little shy. Although she hadn't spent much time with Chen Yang, she knew that he was very opinionated. Once a decision is made, it is not easily changed. Okay, then I'll leave the house purchase entirely to you. Yi Qingya said gently. Manager Lin, I think this villa is very nice. It perfectly matches my aesthetic. As for the other villas, there's no need to look at them. Could you ask your manager for me what kind of discount I can get if I buy this villa in full? Chen Yang smiled and looked at Lin Qiu. No problem. Young Master Chen, please wait a moment. I will go and ask our leader right away. Lin Qiu was stunned for a moment, clearly not expecting Chen Yang to buy a house so readily. There's no need to compare prices or worry about location, lighting, or layout. He treats it like shopping for groceries. If he sees something he likes, he just buys it. Compared to other customers who are meticulous and nitpicky, this is incredibly straightforward. Even for Lin Qiu, this was the first time he had encountered such an easygoing customer. Chapter 50, Special Request. My girlfriend's name must be added to the property deed of this top-tier luxury mansion. Lin Qiu was naturally extremely dedicated to securing this big deal. She went to the leader's office immediately and reported that Chen Yang had bought the house in full. Soon, the leader gave his approval. Within the scope stipulated by the company, the maximum discount was given. The original total price was 252 million, but if Chen Yang buys it in full, the minimum price can be 245 million, saving him 7 million. This is already the greatest sincerity they have shown. Not long after, Lin Qiu hurriedly returned to Chen Yang and said respectfully, Young Master Chen, I've already consulted with the leadership. They said that if you buy this detached villa in full, the maximum discount they can offer is 245 million. Are you satisfied with this price? After Lin Qiu finished speaking, she looked at Chen Yang with a nervous expression. After all, Chen Yang's attitude directly affects whether the transaction of this 245 million yuan luxury mansion can be completed. It would be a lie to say I wasn't excited. Upon hearing this, Chen Yang nodded inwardly. Although the profit margin on luxury homes is huge, the fact that the other party was willing to lower the price by 7 million at once shows that they have shown enough sincerity. Furthermore, Chen Yang has already spent 200 million, so he's not short of a little more money. Not bad. Manager Lin, could you please take us to see the property? If there are no major issues with the house, we can sign the contract and make payment on the spot. Chen Yang pondered for a moment, then looked at Lin Qiu and said, No problem. Lin Qiu's face lit up with joy, and the corners of his mouth couldn't help but turn up. Once the mansion is successfully sold, she will receive a substantial bonus. As we all know, as a real estate salesperson, your monthly salary consists of a base salary and sales commission. For top-tier luxury homes like these, selling 1 or 2 units a month is considered quite good. Not to mention, the detached villa that Chen Yang bought is worth 245 million yuan. If the sale is successful, the bonus she receives will be at least several 100,000 yuan, equivalent to 1 or 2 years' worth of her base salary. Young Master Chen, Miss Yi, I'm going to get the keys and the purchase contract. By the way, have the company arrange a car to pick you up and take you to the OCT Villa area. Lin Qiu bowed slightly and said with a respectful expression, We don't need a private car, we have our own. Chen Yang waved his hand, politely declining Lin Qiu's offer. Lin Qiu nodded with a smile. A few minutes later, Lin Qiu followed Chen Yang to the front of the Maybach S680. I got into the car and drove towards the OCT Villa area. Fortunately, the distance wasn't far. It only took less than 20 minutes to reach the destination. Led by Lin Qiu, they arrived at Villa number 13, Area A, OCT. The villa's main gate was a massive iron gate. Lin Qiu used a key to open it, allowing the Maybach S680 to drive inside. Next is a multifunctional combination lock. You can unlock it using a fingerprint, a magnetic card, or a password. Lin Qiu took out the magnetic card he had prepared beforehand, and with a beep, the villa's outer door was easily opened. As Chen Yang and Yi Qingye stepped onto the expensive marble floor and entered the hall, they could clearly see a 5 or 6 meter high openwork ceiling with a priceless crystal chandelier hanging from the ceiling above. Below is a high-end European-style sofa, a reception table made of rosewood, and an approximately 80-inch ultra-large embedded plasma LCD TV. Further ahead, there is a separate dining area. The tables and chairs are all from high-end brands. They're clearly for wealthy people. High-end, classy, and sophisticated. The kitchen is right next door. It has an independent indoor smoke exhaust and circulation system, and all kinds of kitchen utensils and cookware are top-of-the-line brands from countries D and Y. This built-in 8-door refrigerator features top-of-the-line refrigeration and preservation technology, allowing you to store food for more than a week. There is a guest room at the far end of the first floor, with a private bathroom. Next to it is a maid's room and a small storage room. The walk-in closet is located on the right-hand side of the entrance hall, making it convenient for the homeowner to change clothes. There are 5 rooms on the second floor, the first and largest of which is the master bedroom. The mattresses, sheets, and duvet covers inside are all the same as those in 5-star hotels. The third floor houses a gym, karaoke rooms, a chess and card room, an e-sports room, a yoga room, and a billiards room. On the basement level, there is a separate wine cellar that can be used to store various famous cigarettes and wines, and a spacious private cinema with a starry sky ceiling, where you can watch movies from the comfort of your sofa without leaving home. There is a separate garage on the side of the villa that can accommodate 4 or 5 cars. There is a private pool at the back, where you can swim in the summer. This configuration is truly luxurious. After the tour, Chen Yang and Yi Qingye were very satisfied. Young Master Chen, Miss Yi, that's the gist of the villa. Do you have any further questions? Lin Qiu accompanied the visit throughout and patiently explained all the details, providing exceptionally thoughtful service. Soon, the topic returned to the most crucial point. When do you plan to sign the contract? Great, I'm very satisfied with this villa. Sign the contract now. Chen Yang nodded in satisfaction. Upon hearing this, Lin Qiu was overjoyed and quickly took out a house purchase contract from his briefcase. Then he respectfully handed the pen to Chen Yang with both hands. Chen Yang sat on the sofa, took the pen, and signed his name on the purchase contract in a flamboyant manner. Manager Lin, I have one more special request. A moment later, Chen Yang looked up and gazed at Lin Qiu. Young Master Chen, please speak. Lin Qiu looked serious. I hope that your company will add my name and my girlfriend's name to the property transfer documents. Chen Yang said with a smile. What? Young Master Chen, did I hear that right? You want to add your girlfriend's name to the property deed of this top-tier luxury mansion worth 245 million. Lin Qiu was completely stunned after hearing this. In all her years in the industry, this was the first time she had encountered a client making such a request. Other men try every means to prevent their wives and girlfriends from dividing their assets. But Chen Yang, on the contrary, took the initiative to ask to add his girlfriend's name. It's important to know that once a name is on a property certificate, it has legal effect. If the two break up in the future, Yi Qingye will be able to easily obtain half of the ownership of this top-tier luxury mansion worth 245 million yuan. Taking such a huge risk shows just how generous Chen Yang is to Yi Qingye. Yes, you heard me right. I want this top-tier luxury mansion worth 245 million yuan, and I want to add my girlfriend Yi Qingye's name to it. From now on, this will be our home together. Chen Yang had already taken Yi Qingye's fair and smooth hand in his hand, and his eyes were full of love as he looked at her. Yi Qingye was also deeply moved by Chen Yang's action. Lin Qiu watched the scene of affection between the two, and was immediately overwhelmed with envy and jealousy. There's nothing we can do about it. Chen Yang is so handsome, rich, and generous. Any woman would want to replace Yi Qingye. Of course, Lin Qiu was still self-aware. After all, Yi Qingye is top-notch in terms of looks, figure, and temperament. Therefore, she deserves Chen Yang's favoritism. Chapter 51, a woman who can grace any occasion and cook in the kitchen. School beauty Yi, thank you fate for this gift. The shock lasted for several seconds. It took Lin Qiu a long time to recover. She looked at Chen Yang with amazement and said, "Young Master Chen, you are so kind to Miss Yi. Don't worry, I will personally follow up on the property transfer procedures, and will definitely handle them strictly according to your requirements." Chen Yang nodded in satisfaction. He then took out his wallet, pulled out a black bank card, and handed it to Lin Qiu. "Swipe your card. The PIN is your 6-digit bank card number." Lin Qiu took the bank card slowly and carefully, then took out a POS machine from his briefcase. "Enter the payment amount of 245 million. Then swipe your bank card into the card slot and enter your bank card password." Beep beep. Less than 2 seconds. The POS machine displays a successful payment message. The bill was printed out along with the bill. Seeing this scene, Lin Qiu felt a greater sense of awe towards Chen Yang's identity. At such a young age, to have 245 million yuan in cash in his bank account, Chen Yang's family background must be extremely wealthy and powerful. Only in this way could Chen Yang appear so calm when purchasing a luxury villa in OCT. Such people are best befriended and should never be offended. Otherwise, losing a job is a minor issue. The real question is whether they can even survive in Shanghai. Chen Yang was unaware of this. The fact that he bought this luxury villa worth 245 million yuan in full made Lin Qiu start to imagine all sorts of things about his identity. Of course, this is only human nature. For ordinary people, having 245 million in their bank account, or even just a few 100,000 in cash, is already quite rare, let alone the fact that most people are in debt. It's either a car loan, a mortgage, or various online loans. They may appear glamorous, but in reality, they have long been living beyond their means and have accumulated huge debts. Those who can hold hundreds of millions of dollars in liquid funds are either scions of wealthy families, CEOs of large corporations, or shareholders of listed companies. Neither of them are people that an ordinary real estate salesperson like Lin Qiu could afford to offend. "Young Master Chen, you still have payment receipts on your bank card. The property certificate and transfer procedures will be completed within 3 working days. I will then personally deliver them to you. So could you please leave your contact information? It would be convenient to contact you later." Lin Qiu composed himself. Then she looked at Chen Yang and said softly, "No problem." Chen Yang thought for a moment and then readily agreed. Then he gave his phone number to Lin Qiu. Lin Qiu immediately opened her contacts, entered Chen Yang's number, and carefully added a note. After doing all that, she even dialed the number herself. A short while later, Chen Yang's phone rang. "Young Master Chen, this is my number. It's available 24/7. You can contact me if you have any questions later." Lin Qiu said gently, "Okay, I understand." Chen Yang nodded calmly. Lin Qiu handed the villa gate key and entrance card to Chen Yang. "Young Master Chen, this is the key to the iron gate and the entrance card. It's a multifunctional smart lock that can record fingerprints and passwords. If you need it, I can help you with that, which will make it easier for you to come and go." "Okay, thank you for your help, Manager Lin." Chen Yang found this feature very useful. "We can't expect everyone to carry a magnetic card to enter and exit the villa from now on, can we? What if one day it gets lost? Then no one will be able to get in. To avoid this situation, both fingerprint locks and password locks should be used." Lin Qiu replied respectfully, "You're welcome, it's what I should do." Next, Lin Qiu spent a few minutes recording Chen Yang and Yi Qingya's fingerprints and changing their passwords. After finishing all this, Lin Qiu asked considerately, "Young Master Chen, it's like this. This villa has been sitting idle collecting dust ever since it was renovated. Although the company sends someone to clean it every month, it's been a while since the last cleaning. If you're not in a hurry to move in, I'll have the company arrange for cleaning staff to clean the villa inside and out, so you can move in right away. Young Master Chen, what do you think?" Chen Yang's eyes brightened slightly. He felt very touched by Lin Qiu's actions. Immediately he spoke. "Okay, we'll do as you say, Manager Lin. Okay, you guys clean the house first. We need to move in by the day after tomorrow at the latest." Lin Qiu bowed and nodded, replying with a smile, "Okay, no problem." In the blink of an eye, the sun sets in the west, dusk falls. After leaving the OCT villa area, Chen Yang drove his Maybach S680 to a large supermarket. Pushing the stroller, he strolled around side by side with Yi Qingya. "Qingya, what would you like to eat tonight? I'll make it for you." Chen Yang looked at Yi Qingye with gentle eyes and asked softly, I want to eat shrimp, fish, and beef. These foods are nutritious and good for the development of my baby. Yi Qingye's voice was sweet, as melodious as a lark. Chen Yang listened to it all the time and never got tired of it. Okay, then I'll buy it. While you're at it, buy some other ingredients, and I'll cook you a few of my signature dishes. Once their goal was clear, the two of them moved much faster. After purchasing all the ingredients, Chen Yang took Yi Qingye to buy some fresh fruit, as well as her favorite snacks and pastries. The cart was crammed full. Finally, I went to the cashier to pay. Afterwards, they drove back to the Yulong Garden residential area. Inside the rented room, Chen Yang changed into slippers and then put all the shopping bags on the table. After taking the ingredients out separately, I went into the kitchen to get busy. Yi Qingye sat on the living room sofa to rest. After drinking 2 glasses of water, she came to the kitchen door with a curious look on her face. Soon, she saw Chen Yang standing in front of the sink, busy with something. First, rinse all the ingredients, such as shrimp, mandarin fish, beef, and fresh vegetables, with clean water. Next, Chen Yang used tools to remove the shrimp veins. Then, place the beef on the cutting board and slice it into paper-thin slices with exceptional knife skills. Host detected cooking. Knife skills plus 100, culinary skills plus 100. Chen Yang ignored the system's warning and continued to process the ingredients with a serious expression. His knife skills were superb, and he quickly finished cutting the beef. After that, I started preparing the mandarin fish, vegetables, and some side dishes. About 10 minutes later, all the ingredients were processed. Turn on the kitchen range hood, put out the pan, and heat the oil. The first dish was stir-fried shrimp with scallions. Chen Yang's technique was skillful, and his skills were superb. The wok in his hands seemed to have no weight at all. Toss and stir-fry. The whole process was smooth and beautiful, like a painting. Soon the aroma of fresh shrimp filled the kitchen. Although Yi Qingye was just standing at the door, her nose was sensitive enough to smell the aroma of the wok and the shrimp. Her gaze fell on the stir-fried shrimp in the pot, and she unconsciously swallowed hard. He's elegant in public and skilled in the kitchen. What incredible luck I had in my life to find such an outstanding man as Chen Yang. Thank God you've been so kind to me. If we say, previously, Yi Qingye was complaining about the unfairness of fate, which led to her losing her virginity in a daze and becoming pregnant with a stranger's child. At that moment, she felt incredibly fortunate. Heaven had mercy and arranged for her to meet an exceptionally good man. Whether it's character, ability, appearance, or personality, they are all one in a million. Any woman would fall for a boyfriend like Chen Yang. Letting go, not a chance. Chapter 52, U.S. Stock Market Turmoil. When the snipe and the clam fight, the fisherman profits. More than half an hour later, Chen Yang brought the 4 dishes and 1 soup to the dining table in the living room. Stir-fried shrimp with scallions, stir-fried beef, sweet and sour mandarin fish, stir-fried lettuce with garlic, plus a seaweed and egg drop soup. It has a great color, aroma, and taste, and is nutritious and healthy. Yi Qingye immediately served 2 bowls of rice and handed the chopsticks to Chen Yang. Chen Yang, thank you for your hard work. Here, I'll peel the shrimp for you. Yi Qingye couldn't feel at ease enjoying Chen Yang's kindness. In her view, a good relationship should not be one-sided, but rather based on mutual understanding and trust. After spending these 2 days together, Chen Yang was very considerate and took excellent care of her. He personally cooks for her, puts cars in her name, and now even when buying that 245 million yuan luxury villa in OCT, he specifically asked the staff to add his name to the deed. This is not only Chen Yang's trust in her, but also his affection for her. If it were someone else, they might be willing to do something for her, but there must be some ulterior motive behind it. After figuring this out, Yi Qingye felt that she should also make some changes. After all, she and Chen Yang are now officially dating. Isn't it normal for couples to have some intimate gestures? Thanks. Chen Yang felt flattered by Yi Qingye's actions. But in just a moment, his mindset changed. He did all this for Yi Qingye because he liked her and sincerely wanted her approval. Although it may seem like sycophantic behavior, Chen Yang knew in his heart that Yi Qingye also had feelings for him. That's why she responded to herself in her own unique way. Isn't a 2-way effort much better than a one-sided effort? Now it seems that Yi Qingye is also willing to take this step. For Chen Yang, this was the beginning of Yi Qingye truly accepting him. Chen Yang and Yi Qingye thoroughly enjoyed their dinner that evening. Before you know it, it's 9:36 p.m. Yi Qingye took her change of clothes and went into the bathroom to take a shower. Chen Yang sat on the sofa and played on his phone, but his mind was clearly not on that. The sound of running water in the bathroom made Chen Yang, a young man full of vigor and passion, start to let his mind wander. Gradually, he discovered that he felt as if a fire was burning inside him. He still finds it hard to forget that night when he tasted forbidden fruit with Yi Qingye. Even now that he's living with Yi Qingye, he still harbors a sliver of hope deep down. Chen Yang, what are you thinking? Let alone whether Yi Qingye agrees or not, even if she does agree, she is pregnant now and absolutely cannot have sex with her. Otherwise, the fetus in her womb will inevitably be harmed. Because of momentary pleasure, the child's life will be endangered. How could you do something like this? Don't forget, the system exists to provide a better environment for the child's future growth. If the child is miscarried, who can guarantee that the system won't disappear along with it? After figuring this out, Chen Yang immediately shook his head, extinguishing all the filthy thoughts that had popped into his mind. He knew in his heart that his goal at this stage should not be to covet Yi Qingye's body. Rather, it's about how to accumulate capital in a short period of time, and then rise rapidly. Only by transforming oneself into a phoenix tree can one attract the phoenix. Besides, Yi Qingye has officially become his girlfriend and has accepted him from the bottom of her heart. Therefore, Chen Yang had no need to worry that Yi Qingye would leave him. Instead, we should consider how to deal with the targeting and suppression from Yi Qingye's suitors, as well as the test from her family. These are the key factors that made Chen Yang take it seriously. The U.S. stock market should be open by now. Let's keep working hard and earn more money for baby formula. Soon, Chen Yang got up from the sofa and walked towards the room. He sat in his chair, opened his laptop, and skillfully logged into his stock trading software. Of the original 520 million yuan in the account, 250 million yuan was withdrawn today because Chen Yang purchased a top-tier luxury villa in OCT. At this moment, he still has 270 million, or 38.5 million US dollars, in his account. This amount of money is more than enough to invest in US stocks. The US stock market has a huge daily trading volume, with massive amounts of money flowing through it every minute. 1 second ago, someone made $1 million. The next second, market fluctuations could wipe out all the millions of dollars you've earned. Financial markets are constantly changing. However, these risks were not a problem for Chen Yang at all. On this battlefield, Chen Yang is the only true god. Host detected trading US stocks. God of investment, title activated. God-level data analysis and judgment abilities activated. Jenny's Pharmaceuticals, stock code XXXXXX, is currently trading at $48.50 per share. A surge is imminent in 10 minutes. Financial institutions are using funds to forcefully drive up the stock price. Within 30 minutes, the price has risen to $78.25 per share, attracting numerous retail investors to buy in large quantities. And with everyone optimistic, the market saw a surge of sell orders as financial institutions frantically reduced their holdings at high prices, realizing huge profits. This stock has immense investment value. It is recommended that the host immediately begin trading. Iran Military Industry, stock code XXXXXX, currently trades at $150.45 per share. In half an hour, riots will break out on the western border, with warlords launching a war in an attempt to usurp power in a certain country. The warlords will purchase large quantities of arms and strategic materials from this military industry group. Once the news is reported by the media, countless financial institutions and tycoons will buy in large quantities, driving the stock price to its peak of $260 per share. This is a monstrous stock that can make someone rich overnight. It is recommended that the host buy in large quantities. A transparent virtual light screen appeared before Chen Yang's eyes. All kinds of intelligence information were laid bare before him, as if he had gained a god-like perspective. How can you expect Chen Yang to lose this financial battle? The question now is not whether to lose or not, but how much money Chen Yang can make from the US stock market. Without further ado, Chen Yang immediately began to plan and execute the operation. He went all in on J&T Pharmaceuticals, investing a total of $38.25 million. The plan is to make a profit first, and then, before Iran military industry officially takes off, go all in on the US dollars earned to Iran military industry, to maximize profits by profiting from both ends. After all, the US stock market changes rapidly every day, and such a good opportunity to make money doesn't come every day. Therefore, Chen Yang couldn't afford to miss it. 10 minutes later, as expected, the stock price of J&N Pharmaceuticals started to rise. The price rose from $48.50 per share to $52.45 per share, and this was just the beginning. As time went on, the stock price continued to soar. In order not to affect his large-scale purchase of Iran military industry stock, Chen Yang reluctantly sold all his shares when the stock price was close to $75 per share. A massive amount of funds was instantly returned, and the funds in Chen Yang's investment account increased from the initial $38.25 million to $59 million. That's not all. Before any positive news about Iran military industry is revealed, Chen Yang immediately took action, investing all the funds in his account to buy shares of Iran military industry. 5 minutes later, the transaction was completed. The war began immediately, and the news spread to major media platforms in no time. Iran military industry instantly became a hot commodity in the eyes of major financial institutions and capital. A silent financial battle has begun. Chen Yang was already overjoyed because he had planned ahead. At this moment, he watched as greedy financial institutions and tycoons fought fiercely for stock shares. When the snipe and the clam fight, the fisherman profits. Chen Yang is the fisherman who sits calmly on his fishing platform. Chapter 53, Soaring Wealth. Net worth nears 1 billion. School beauty ye personally cooks. Knock, knock, knock. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. Chen Yang, I'm done washing up. You can go take a shower now. The next second, Yi Qingya's gentle and melodious voice came from outside the door. Okay, right away. Chen Yang directly set up the system in the backend that when the stock price of Iran military industry rose to $260 per share, a sell order would be automatically placed to ensure that all the stock shares in the account were sold off and cleared out. After doing all this, Chen Yang got up and walked towards the door. Click! He turned the doorknob and pulled gently, and saw Yi Qingya standing in front of him wearing a pink nightgown. She had a towel around her neck, which she used to dry her hair. Qingya, don't you have a hair dryer? Chen Yang asked with a curious look. Yes, it's in my room. Yi Qingya nodded and replied with a light laugh. Then go get the hairdryer, I'll blow dry your hair for you. It'll dry faster that way. Chen Yang smiled slightly and offered his suggestion. May I? Yi Qingya looked surprised. She never expected Chen Yang to be so considerate, even willing to do something like this for her. You should know that in all her life, no one other than her mother has ever done her hair. Of course, this is a piece of cake for me, Chen Yang said casually. Okay, then wait for me a moment. The words were spoken. Yi Qingya strode back to the room with her long legs, took out a pink hair dryer, and handed it to Chen Yang. There's an outlet next to the sofa. Just sit there and don't move, leave the rest to me, Chen Yang said with a smile. Good. Yi Qingya nodded obediently. Before long, the two arrived at the sofa. After Yi Qingya sat down, Chen Yang plugged the hairdryer into the power strip, gently placed one hand on her jet black hair, and pressed the start button with the other. The next moment, with the hairdryer blowing hot air, Chen Yang transformed into a hairdresser, drying Yi Qingya's hair piece by piece. Host detected blow drying hair. Stylist skill plus 1000. Stylist skill automatically upgraded to beginner level. Just then, a wave of memories suddenly surged into Chen Yang's mind. It contains detailed records of hair styling techniques, including perming, bleaching and dyeing, styling and blow drying. After he had fully digested all this knowledge, Chen Yang discovered that he was actually an expert in styling design. At this moment, even the gestures of blow drying hair became very professional. If he wanted, he could style Yi Qingya in several looks within a dozen seconds, bringing out the full potential of her face shape and beauty. As expected of a system, it's incredibly powerful. If this trend continues, sooner or later I will definitely become an all-around genius who is proficient in all fields. Won't Qingya be so infatuated with me then that she can't extricate herself? Chen Yang shouted excitedly in his heart. Of course, his hands were moving very quickly. A few minutes later, Yi Qingya's hair was almost dry, and Chen Yang also helped her style it. His long, straight hair was transformed into large waves in his hands. Although it couldn't be completely finalized, the current outline, combined with Yi Qingya's face shape, exuded a unique charm. After finishing these tasks, Chen Yang turned off the hairdryer. He went back to his room to get a change of clothes and headed to the bathroom. Yi Qingya returned to her room and prepared to begin her skincare routine. After all, daily skincare is essential to becoming a refined and beautiful woman. Every skincare product on her vanity is from a high-end brand. Lancome Advanced Gainifique Youth Activating Concentrate. La Mer, a brand under the Estée Lauder Companies, uses deep-sea algae extract as its core ingredient, focusing on repair and anti-aging. Its products, such as the classic Crème de la Mer, are known as the king of creams. SKII is a representative of skincare technology, renowned for its cellular renewal essence and facial treatment essence, with products covering anti-aging, whitening, and other areas. Ordinary people simply cannot afford these high-end skincare products. Yekingia, however, had several sets. It's clear how much she values protecting her skin and appearance. When did I change my look? Yekingia had just sat down in front of the dressing table when she was immediately startled by her reflection in the mirror. Her hair, which was originally hanging down naturally over her shoulders, now had obvious curls, making it look like it had been permed. It's a bit like big waves full of fluffiness. As a result, her overall appearance and temperament have also improved significantly. She looks more mature and has more charm. Could it be that when Chen Yang was blow-drying my hair earlier, he specially styled it for me? Yekingia quickly realized that this was most likely related to Chen Yang. On the other side, Chen Yang took a nice hot shower, then washed his clothes and hung them out to dry on the balcony. After that, he returned to his room. The major U.S. stock markets are still locked in fierce battle. In just a short time, Orlando Military Industries stock had risen to $192 per share. It's just one step away from breaking the $200 mark. Chen Yang was like a seasoned hunter, patiently lying in wait, just waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike and maximize his profits. This wait lasted for more than 2 hours. 2:30 a.m., Oran Military Industry finally saw its stock price skyrocket amidst fierce competition among major financial institutions and conglomerates. The final stock price reached $260 per share. Without the slightest hesitation, Chen Yang immediately placed a sell order, clearing out all the stock shares in his account, leaving nothing behind. Meanwhile, financial institutions and conglomerates that were optimistic about Oran Military Industry and thought it could continue to rise were buying up all the stocks that Chen Yang had sold. From then on, a huge amount of money was returned to Chen Yang's account. The original $59 million surged again, reaching an astonishing $102 million. That's equivalent to 714 million RMB. In addition, Chen Yang purchased a top-tier luxury villa in OCT for 245 million yuan. Chen Yang's current net worth is close to 1 billion yuan. In just a few days, Chen Yang went from an ordinary young man to an A10 level eligible bachelor. Moreover, they are genuine first-generation entrepreneurs. If such an achievement were to become public, it would undoubtedly cause a huge sensation among Shanghai's high society. Chen Yang didn't know and didn't want to know. After turning off his laptop, he went to bed to rest. The next morning, around 9 o'clock, Chen Yang was woken up by Yekingia to have breakfast. This pampered young lady, who never lifted a finger in the kitchen, actually went into the kitchen for Chen Yang and personally made breakfast. A bowl of egg and ham noodles, topped with a handful of chopped green onions. Although it's simple, it looks pretty good. To be honest, this surprised Chen Yang quite a bit. Yekingia, did you make this for me yourself? Chen Yang looked at Yekingia with a surprised expression and asked. Yes. I figured you must have stayed up really late again last night and couldn't get up this morning, so I tried to make you a bowl of noodles. Try it and see how it tastes. Yekingia lowered her head, looking extremely shy. This was the first time in her life that she had ever cooked a meal herself. This honor, which even her father never enjoyed, has now fallen on Chen Yang. This clearly demonstrates just how important Chen Yang is in Yekingia's heart. Chapter 54, Egg and Scallion Noodles, Step-by-Step Tutorial. Good. Chen Yang nodded softly. He then plopped down in the chair, picked up his chopsticks, and started tasting. I didn't expect that Principal Yi's first time cooking would turn out so well. The noodles actually taste pretty good. After a while, Chen Yang raised his head, met Yekingia's gaze, and smiled faintly. Really? Then I'll try some too. After saying that, Yekingia picked up a noodle with her chopsticks and took a small bite. Her expectant expression was completely dashed at that moment. Salty, so salty. The taste of this noodle instantly made her put on a mask of pain. The next second, she spat out the noodles. Chen Yang, you're lying to me. This noodle dish is obviously incredibly salty, yet you're eating it with relish. Yekingia came to her senses and looked at Chen Yang with disbelief. I have a strong palate and like my food to be a little salty. Is that not allowed? Chen Yang said with a smile. Upon hearing this, Yi Qingye felt a surge of warmth in her heart. She knew perfectly well that Chen Yang was only saying those words to comfort her, because it was her first time cooking. I'm sorry, Chen Yang. I promise you I will practice more when I have time. I may not be able to learn how to cook, but I believe I can definitely learn how to cook noodles as long as I'm willing to spend the time. Yi Qingye said with a serious expression. I trust you, but Qingye, you don't necessarily have to learn these things. As long as I'm here, I'll never let you go hungry. Chen Yang felt confident that he could keep this promise. I don't want to be just a pretty face. In case you stay up late again in the future, I want to make you breakfast so you don't have to work so hard. Yi Qingye, being understanding, said. Hearing this, Chen Yang was deeply moved. He could clearly sense that Yi Qingye was also caring for him in her own way. Okay, then I'll show you how to do it step by step. You're so smart, you'll definitely learn it in no time. After saying that, Chen Yang took Yi Qingye's hand and strode into the kitchen. Qingye, watch this. First, turn on the range hood. Then add some water to the pot and bring it to a boil on the gas stove. While we have this time, let's take a few eggs out of the refrigerator, crack them open, and pour the yolks and whites into a bowl. Take a few scallions and chop them finely. Be very careful during this step, and remember not to cut your hand. Next, put the chopped green onions into a bowl and stir them thoroughly with chopsticks. When the water in the pot is almost boiling, we put the noodles in, pour in a little cooking oil, then pour the eggs into the pot, add a little salt, and stir evenly in the pot with a ladle. If you want a richer flavor, you can also add a little lean meat or peeled fresh shrimp. After cooking for another 3 to 5 minutes, the noodles will be ready. Chen Yang patiently explained, while breaking down the actions step by step to ensure that Yi Qingye could fully understand. Host detected cooking. Knife skills plus 100, cooking experience plus 100. Chen Yang was already used to the system prompts. Instead of slowing down, he actually sped up his movements considerably. Before long, a pot of egg and scallion oil noodles was ready, and a rich aroma immediately filled the air, making one's mouth water. Chen Yang brought the pot to the dining table, then took out a bowl and chopsticks, filled the bowl to the brim, and presented it to Yi Qingye. Here, Qingye, try it and see how it tastes. As soon as Chen Yang finished speaking, Yi Qingye's attention quickly fell on the bowl of noodles in front of her. To be honest, seeing how easily Chen Yang handled the process, she suddenly realized that cooking noodles didn't seem so difficult after all. Once she knows how to do it and connects each step well, and practices a few more times, her skills will definitely improve greatly. But the most urgent task is, she should try Chen Yang's noodles first to see how much better they taste than hers. Having figured this out, Yi Qingye picked up her chopsticks and started eating. The noodles are chewy and soft, coated with a rich aroma of egg and scallions. Moreover, the salinity is just right. Too much salt and it's too salty, too little and it's too bland. At this moment, the taste buds on the tip of the tongue seem to explode completely. This is 100 times tastier than the egg and scallion noodles I made myself. Yi Qingye's eyes widened instantly. She could clearly feel that the difference between her skills and Chen Yang's was like heaven and earth. It's delicious, it's so delicious. Chen Yang, your cooking skills are absolutely amazing. Even a simple bowl of noodles you make tastes so delicious. Suddenly, I never want to eat noodles that I made myself again. In comparison, it is obvious which is stronger and which is weaker. Yi Qingye couldn't help but feel a sense of defeat. All right, everyone is born with certain skills. For beginners, the key is to learn from each failure and continuously improve themselves. Eventually, they will achieve success. It's just cooking noodles. It's not as difficult as you think. As long as you know how to control the heat, season, and match the ingredients, the taste may not be amazing, but it won't be too bad. But if you want to achieve the best, you have to spend more time and energy studying and improving step by step. This principle applies to any industry. It's easy to get started, but to master it, or even reach the level of a master, requires not only time and experience, but also outstanding talent. You don't need to have any grand ambitions. Just learn how to make a simple breakfast first. As for the other elaborate meals, leave them to me. Chen Yang looked at Yi Qingye with a doting expression. In his view, Yi Qingye's talent should lie in the field of art. I remember he attended a welcome party when he was a sophomore. Yi Qingye performed a piano solo as the finale of the evening. At that time, she was wearing a white dress, with exquisite makeup on her face, and with her outstanding temperament, she looked like a fairy descended from heaven. Her appearance immediately ignited the entire audience, making her the dream goddess of every man present. Yi Qingye became famous because of that party, becoming not only the undisputed beauty of the School of Foreign Languages, but also the most beautiful goddess of the entire school. She completely overshadowed the other school beauties. Later, at a party, Yi Qingye teamed up with a senior from the dance club and showcased her graceful dance moves. Her looks, figure, and stage presence have driven countless men crazy. From then on, Yi Qingye was surrounded by countless suitors. Through intense competition, only a group of wealthy scions and privileged children of officials with powerful backgrounds and prominent family connections remained. Unfortunately, Yi Qingye doesn't seem to have any plans to date in college. She remained unmoved by the relentless pursuit of these men. Therefore, among the many campus beauties, she was the most unique and the most talked about. After all, other campus beauties either dated rich second-generation boyfriends or found top students who ranked first in their majors. Each one of them is already taken. Only Yi Qingye remained clear-headed and independent. She became the white moonlight in the hearts of all boys, and also the most inviolable existence. However, no one would have imagined that this seemingly aloof and arrogant school beauty, who never showed any interest in any boy, would become the girlfriend of Chen Yang, the school heartthrob of the finance department. They would never know that Yi Qingye, though seemingly aloof, is actually kind-hearted, gentle, decisive, and has a clear understanding of herself. That is precisely why. She knows which men are genuinely good to her and which are after her body, as well as the power and influence of her family. First update delivered. Thank you all for your support. Chapter 55, The Beautiful Counselor Teacher Jiang Ning Calls. After listening to Chen Yang's words, Yi Qingye nodded slightly and said in a melodious voice, "Okay, whatever you say. Have breakfast first, then I might have to go back to school." Chen Yang smiled and said. The two quickly devoured the entire pot of noodles. Immediately afterwards, Chen Yang took the pot and bowls into the kitchen, washed them, and put them in the cupboard. Time flew by, and it was 9 o'clock. Just then, Chen Yang's phone suddenly rang. He took his phone out of his pocket and saw that the caller ID showed it was his counselor, Teacher Jiang Ning. "Teacher Jiang, is there something you need from me?" Chen Yang answered the phone and asked with a curious expression. Jiang Ning is nominally Chen Yang's university counselor, but in reality, she is only a few years older than Chen Yang. Graduated from the Department of Financial Management, Kyoto University. He is 1.68 meters tall and weighs 48 kilograms. She had long jet black hair, almond-shaped eyes, slender arched eyebrows, a straight nose, and lips as luscious as rose petals. She has an oval face, delicate features, fair and smooth skin. And while her figure isn't particularly voluptuous, it would still easily outshine over 90% of women. She has an outstanding overall image and is a recognized beautiful teacher at Shanghai University. She had many suitors, including professors from schools and departments, so-called career elites, and vice presidents of listed companies. Of course, there was also the son of a bureau chief in a government department. These are all public information at the school. They're not secrets. It is clear that Ms. Jiang Ning's charm is in no way inferior to that of the school's most beautiful girls. Chen Yang had previously interacted with teacher Jiang Ning regarding school scholarships and part-time jobs, and had also received considerable help from her. Therefore, their relationship was much better than that of a typical teacher and student. "Chen Yang, are you at school or working part-time?" Soon, Ms. Jiang Ning's voice came from the other end of the phone. "Teacher Jiang, I rented a place outside and I'm at home now." Chen Yang was puzzled, but because he trusted teacher Jiang Ning, he answered truthfully in the end. "That's right, because you have excellent academic performance and outstanding performance in extracurricular activities. The school leaders have introduced you to several well-known financial companies. The HR directors of these companies are very interested in you, so they will come to the company this morning to conduct a preliminary interview with you. You need to go back to school right now and prepare for the interview. This is your first job, and it's also the employment choice of the most outstanding graduates from the finance department of Shanghai University. The school leadership attaches great importance to this, so you must take it seriously. This matter is crucial for both the school and your personal future development." Teacher Jiang Ning took a deep breath and then briefly described the whole story. Hearing this, Chen Yang felt a warmth in his heart. He knew in his heart that teacher Jiang must have put in a lot of effort. Otherwise, why would the school leaders be so concerned about his personal employment? Thinking of how much care teacher Jiang Ning had always taken for him, Chen Yang couldn't bear to refuse her kindness. After a moment's hesitation, Chen Yang said leisurely. Teacher Jiang, don't worry, I'll head back to school right now and make sure I don't miss the interview. That's good. Your teacher will be waiting for you in the school office. After saying that, Teacher Jiang Ning hung up the phone. Qingya, I have to go back to school. Do you want to come back with me or stay at home? Chen Yang then looked at Yi Qingya and asked. Perfect timing. I also have some things to do and need to go back to my dorm. Okay, you can take me to the girls' dormitory building, and then you can focus on your own business. Yi Qingya thought for a moment and quickly made a decision. A few minutes later, the two arrived at the underground parking garage. Chen Yang drove his Maybach S680 toward Shanghai University. The drive isn't long, only about 10 minutes. Then the car drove all the way to a spot not far from the girls' dormitory building, before slowly coming to a stop. The car door opened. Wearing a mask, Yi Qingya hurriedly got off the bus and, taking advantage of the fact that no one was paying attention, walked lightly into the girls' dormitory building. Seeing this, Chen Yang drove away. 15 minutes later, when Chen Yang arrived at Counselor Jiang Ning's office, he immediately saw her sitting at her workstation, busy at work. Thump, thump, thump. Chen Yang raised his hand and knocked on the door. Then he strode towards teacher Jiang Ning. At the same time, a smile appeared on her face, and she said in a light voice, Teacher Jiang, I'm here. Upon hearing this, Jiang Ning immediately looked up and her gaze fell on Chen Yang. Not only her, but also the teachers from other departments around her all turned their attention to Chen Yang. After all, Chen Yang is not only good-looking, but also a top student in the finance department who has repeatedly ranked first in his grade in terms of academic performance. Most importantly, I've heard that he's already come to the attention of the school's board of directors. This is why the school used its resources to introduce Chen Yang to several well-known financial companies. It wasn't just about setting an example for Chen Yang, but also about having high hopes for his career development. That's why they offered him assistance at this time. This is not only a political task, but also an investment in personal relationships. Clearly, the school's board of directors and leaders unanimously believe that Chen Yang has enormous potential, and his future achievements are immeasurable. That's why they showed him kindness during Chen Yang's formative years. It is hoped that when Chen Yang achieves success in the future, he will remember the school's kindness, and when he is able, give back to the school to the best of his ability, thus creating a beautiful story. Teachers with even a little political awareness and some inside knowledge are well aware of the situation. Whatever the reason, the school's help to Chen Yang was genuine. Chen Yang's abilities are already outstanding, a fact that is evident to the school leaders and teachers. Now, with this opportunity, his rise to prominence is only a matter of time. Therefore, the teachers did not look down on Chen Yang, and they were also thinking about whether they should find an opportunity to cultivate a better relationship with him. This would also make it easier for Chen Yang to gain some fame and benefits by leveraging the teacher-student relationship when he achieves success. Chen Yang, you've come at just the right time. The principal just called me and said that the interviewers from the financial companies that are recruiting have arrived and asked me to take you to his office right now. Jiang Ning quickly got up, picked up her phone and a stack of documents, and led Chen Yang toward the principal's office. Teacher Jiang, what exactly happened? In previous years, the school did not offer job opportunities to the students with the highest academic performance in their major. Why are they making such a big move this year? Chen Yang followed closely behind Jiang Ning. To be honest, he really didn't want to attend this so-called interview. After all, he is now a billionaire with a net worth of nearly 1 billion, having completely achieved financial freedom. Mr. Liu Jindong, the general manager of Dingfeng Securities, had previously invited him to join the company in person, offering an annual salary of 5 million yuan plus a 30% share of project profits, but he resolutely refused. How could they possibly be interested in jobs offered by other financial companies to outstanding recent graduates with monthly salaries of 20,000 to 30,000 yuan? However, Chen Yang really didn't know how to start the conversation at this moment. Is it true that he has achieved financial freedom through stock trading? Will teacher Jiang Ning believe it? And will the principal and school board members believe it? Second update, there haven't been enough requests for more updates and the comments are too. Everyone is welcome to speak up and offer suggestions. Chapter 56 School leaders, board members, and financial company leaders gathered together. Upon hearing this, teacher Jiang Ning subconsciously glanced at Chen Yang, her eyes revealing a hint of appreciation and respect. After a long pause, he slowly spoke. Why? It's because your academic performance is too outstanding. He has ranked first in his class for 4 consecutive years, and he is far ahead of the second place by a huge margin. Chen Yang, you are intelligent, quick-witted, and exceptionally talented. Your knowledge and theoretical understanding in the financial field far surpasses that of your peers. This is something that I, the principal, and the school board are all very clear about. Therefore, your potential is destined to be amazing. Considering that you work part-time on weekends and during your spare time, your family cannot provide you with many resources and assistance in your professional field. After deliberation by the school leaders and the board of directors, we specifically recommended several financial companies to you. The founders and shareholders of these financial companies have close ties with the university, so they can still have some influence. This is undoubtedly a great opportunity for you, so you must make sure to be in your best condition for the interview later. After hearing what teacher Jiang Ning said, Chen Yang felt a surge of warmth in his heart. Back then, he ranked among the top 10 in the province in the college entrance examination and was the top science student in Nanyang City. He was admitted to Shanghai University with a total score of 703. The school offered him generous benefits, including full tuition and accommodation waivers, a full scholarship, and a bonus of 200,000 yuan. The principal and the head of academic affairs personally received him and promised him various benefits. It can be said that Chen Yang received meticulous care during his 4 years at Shanghai University. Now that he is about to graduate, the principal and the school board have even used their resources to introduce him to financial companies and recommend him for job offers. To be honest, Chen Yang was deeply moved. Even if the system isn't activated, his future life and prospects won't be too bad. After all, he has excellent academic performance, solid theoretical knowledge, and the school is there to support him. But now, Chen Yang has a better option. Therefore, he could only appreciate the good intentions of the school leaders and the board of directors. Yes, teacher Jiang Ning, I will. Chen Yang smiled and nodded, replying respectfully. As they spoke, the two of them kept walking at a brisk pace. About 10 minutes later, they arrived at the principal's office. Thump, thump, thump. Teacher Jiang Ning stopped and knocked on the door. Come in. A deep, resonant voice came from inside the room. Then Ms. Jiang Ning led Chen Yang into the office. Meanwhile, a number of people had already gathered in the office. Principal Zhu Jun, Vice Principal Liu Neng, School Board Member Tang Feng, and Director of Academic Affairs Lin Aguo. Wang Qi, Vice President of Kaiwei Financial Company. Sun He, Vice President of Donghua Financial Company. And He Ryunan, Human Resources Director of Tiancheng Financial Company. None of the people here have simple identities. Just sitting here right now, the aura is so powerful that it's hard to breathe. Principal Zhu, Chairman Tang, I've brought Chen Yang with me. Teacher Jiang Ning walked up to Principal Zhu Jun, nodded slightly and spoke respectfully. At the same time, Chen Yang took the initiative to greet them. Principal, Chairman Tang, and all the leaders and seniors, hello. Thank you for your hard work, Teacher Jiang. You are Chen Yang's counselor. His grades and life at school depend on your care and support. Today is a great day for him to have interviews with several important partner companies of the school. You don't need to go anywhere. Just sit here and wait for the news. Zhu Jun smiled kindly and looked at teacher Jiang Ning with gentle eyes as he spoke slowly. Thank you, Principal Zhu. Teacher Jiang Ning was very happy to see that her work had been recognized by Principal Zhu Jun. Chen Yang, don't just stand there, come and sit here with me. Tang Feng waved to Chen Yang and said with a kind expression. Chen Yang was no stranger to Tang Feng, a member of the school's board of directors. Previously, he represented the school at an economic exchange conference held by several key universities in China, where he put forward many sharp opinions and showed his talent. It has attracted considerable attention within universities. Tang Feng is one of them, so much so that later on, the school board member would occasionally chat with him about domestic and international financial markets, economic systems, and the future direction of economic development. To be honest, Chen Yang benefited a lot from chatting with Tang Feng. What you learn from books is never enough. You must put it into practice. Economic theories must ultimately be combined with practice to be validated and to bring substantial help to the country and its people. Tang Feng also taught Chen Yang a meaningful lesson. Therefore, Chen Yang was quite grateful to Tang Feng, his elder. Upon hearing this, Chen Yang was not intimidated. He walked confidently to the sofa next to Tang Feng and sat down with dignified manners. In just a moment, Chen Yang keenly sensed that everyone's eyes had quietly fallen on him and were curiously scrutinizing him. President Wang, President Sun, President He, let me introduce you to them. The gentleman before you is Chen Yang, an outstanding graduate of the finance department of Shanghai University who is about to graduate. This student ranked among the top 10 in the province in the college entrance examination that year and was the top science student in Nanyang City. He was admitted to our school with a score of 703. During his 4 years of study at the school, he consistently ranked first in the finance department and shone brightly at the National University Economic Exchange Conference. He also achieved a perfect score in extracurricular activities. His abilities, temperament, and character are all exceptional. I cherish talent and can't bear to see such talent go to waste. I believe in keeping talent within the family, so I've taken the liberty of inviting you all to our school for a preliminary interview with Chen Yang. It's less of an interview and more of a school test. If Chen Yang's performance meets your standards, then please don't be stingy with a high salary and bring our school's best graduate this year into the company for proper training. Believe me, it won't be long before he becomes a pillar of your company. He might even become an indispensable stabilizing force. Tang Feng's words revealed Chen Yang's outstanding personal abilities, as well as his appreciation and high regard for Chen Yang. Tang Feng is not only a member of the board of directors of Shanghai University, but also a well-known professor in the field of economics in China. His students and friends are spread across all walks of life. Many of them have become leaders in their respective industries. It can be said that his social status was so high that it was unimaginable for ordinary people. Tang Feng usually kept a low profile and didn't show off. So many people didn't know the inside story. But everyone knows one thing. They should never offend Tang Feng and should treat him with respect. Otherwise, they wouldn't have abandoned their official duties at the company and traveled all the way to Shanghai University just because of Tang Feng's phone invitation. Of course, they also harbored some curiosity. What kind of student could Tang Feng praise so highly? They would even go to great lengths, using all their connections, to personally arrange interview opportunities for the other party. This was unprecedented. Kaiwei Donghua Tiancheng. These 3 financial companies may not be top tier in Shanghai's financial industry, but they are definitely among the first tier. Normally, countless financial professionals would be scrambling to get a job at their company. There are also quite a few people who try to pull strings and find connections just to get preferential treatment from them. However, this was the first time they had encountered a persuader of Tang Feng's stature. Therefore, they were all very curious about Chen Yang, which is why the leaders of the 3 financial companies gathered together. Chapter 57, 3 financial companies simultaneously extend job offers to Chen Yang. School leaders are curious about Chen Yang's choice. Chairman Tang, you are an economics professor and a senior figure in our industry. We naturally trust your judgment. Otherwise, we wouldn't have gone out in person. I just hope that the performance of this outstanding student from your school will impress me. Rest assured, as long as he passes our interview, I, on behalf of the company, will offer him the utmost sincerity in terms of salary, benefits, and position. The first person to speak was Sun He, the vice president of Donghua Financial Company. Before he came, he specifically had someone conduct a background check. Chen Yang ranked first in his class throughout his 4 years of university, and his abilities are beyond doubt. In addition, he is low-key, humble, and gets along very well with his classmates, teachers, and even school leaders. What's most remarkable is that Chen Yang comes from an ordinary family and often works part-time on weekends and during his spare time. Even so, his grades were not affected. This shows that Chen Yang not only has amazing learning ability and knows how to plan his time effectively, but is also very independent and has his own opinions. Such people, as long as they stay true to their original aspirations and keep working hard, will eventually rise to prominence. They might even gain a foothold in Shanghai's financial sector. Not to mention, Chen Yang also gained Tang Feng's appreciation, who personally acted as a go-between to help him secure a better future. They possess exceptional abilities, have good character, and receive help from influential people. It's like a rock rising with the wind, soaring 90,000 miles high. The future is limitless. Sun He had already made up his mind that as long as Chen Yang could pass his interview, he was willing to offer him an annual salary of no less than 350,000 yuan. He was never stingy with his treatment of talented people. More importantly, his intuition told him that Chen Yang was the same kind of person as him. With a little training, He could grow into his right-hand man in less than 2 years. Mr. Sun, I feel much more at ease knowing that you said that. I have personally tested Chen Yang's abilities, and I guarantee that he will not disappoint you. Tang Feng smiled. Then he glanced at Zhu Jun and said, Principal Zhu, is the meeting room all arranged? Let's hurry up and get General Manager Sun and the others to start the interviews. Upon hearing this, Zhu Jun gave Lin Aguo, the director of the Academic Affairs Office, a wink. The latter immediately understood, stood up and said with a smile, Mr. Sun, Mr. Chen Yang, please come with me. Before long, Lin Aguo led Sun He and Chen Yang to the next meeting room and prepared tea for them. After doing all this, he quietly left the room, leaving only Sun He and Chen Yang inside. Chen Yang, please have a seat. You don't need to be so reserved, relax. Don't treat the following conversation like an interview, just think of it as a casual chat between the two of us. Sun He smiled slightly and spoke to Chen Yang with a kind expression. Okay, Mr. Sun. Chen Yang's lips curled up, revealing a faint smile. Next, Sun He casually posed several questions from the financial field. They ranged from basic to profound, each one more challenging than the last. However, Chen Yang's answer was fluent and without any hesitation, and he even took a very short time to think. This performance immediately impressed Sun He. As expected of a top student highly praised by Chairman Tang, his theoretical knowledge and depth of thought are truly outstanding. Sun He was secretly shocked. However, he remained expressionless and steered the conversation toward the daily operations of the financial company and the investment field. It was assumed that Chen Yang would lack experience because he had never worked before. However, his answer surprised Sun He once again. In fact, Chen Yang's logical thinking and analytical abilities far exceeded Sun He's expectations. I've struck gold. This is Sun He's truest thought at this moment. Without the slightest hesitation, Sun He looked intently at Chen Yang with a serious expression and said, Chen Yang, on behalf of Donghua Financial Company, I sincerely invite you to join us. Therefore, I will use my authority to offer you an annual salary of no less than 350,000. As you know, the job market is very competitive now. Even if you are an outstanding graduate from a university in Shanghai, it is extremely rare for your first job to be in Donghua Financial Company and get such a high salary. Therefore, please be sure to consider this carefully. Normally, Chen Yang would feel excited or thrilled to receive such a well-paying offer. But Sun He was disappointed. He didn't see any emotion on Chen Yang's face. This scene left him bewildered. Could it be that Chen Yang is not satisfied with this annual salary? Even for top graduates from Yenching University and Tsinghua and Peking universities, their first job is usually around this salary level. Could it be that Chen Yang intends to attend the interviews at Kaiwei and Tiancheng financial companies, and then wait for the right offer? Sun He couldn't find any other reason besides this one. Mr. Sun, thank you for your recognition and appreciation. I will seriously consider joining your company. Please give me your contact number, Mr. Sun, and I will reply as soon as possible. Chen Yang replied with a faint smile. Okay, this is my business card. Feel free to contact me anytime. Upon hearing this, Sun He did not say anything more. He took out a business card and handed it to Chen Yang. Chen Yang respectfully accepted the gift with both hands, and then extended his hand to Sun He. The two shook hands. A moment later, Sun He got up and walked out the door. Soon, the two leaders from Kaiwei Financial Company and Tiancheng Financial Company also entered the room one after another and conducted a brief interview with Chen Yang. Chen Yang demonstrated remarkable talent and a humorous and witty emotional intelligence, which greatly impressed the two leaders. They all extended job offers to Chen Yang. Wang Qi, the vice president of Kaiwei Financial Company, offered a salary of 300,000 yuan per year. He Ryunan, the HR director of Tiancheng Financial Company, offered him a job as a financial data analyst and promised that if the opportunity arose in the future, she would definitely help him enter the investment department to gain practical experience in trading. At the same time, they offered Chen Yang a generous annual salary of 400,000 yuan. You could say that Chen Yang performed exceptionally well in this interview. He gained the appreciation of senior executives from 3 financial companies who proactively extended offers to him. But Chen Yang didn't agree to either of them. I just made up an excuse, saying I needed to think about it for a few more days, and left them my contact information. After the interview, Sun He, Wang Qi, and He Ryunan said goodbye to Principal Zhu and Chairman Tang and left the office. On the way, the 3 of them exchanged glances, as if asking Chen Yang which company he had chosen. After the briefing, it became clear that Chen Yang wasn't in a hurry to make a decision. Inside the principal's office, Principal Zhu Jun, Vice Principal Liu Neng, School Board Member Tang Feng, and Director of Academic Affairs Lin Aguo were all overjoyed to learn that Chen Yang's interview results were surprisingly smooth, with 3 companies offering him job invitations and annual salaries of no less than 300,000 yuan. After all, this treatment is entirely commensurate with Chen Yang's abilities. Chen Yang, tell me, which of these 3 companies would you most like to join? With a smile on his face, Tang Feng suddenly asked Chen Yang curiously. These words were spoken. The other school leaders all turned their attention to Chen Yang, secretly hoping for his response. Chapter 58. A young man should have lofty ambitions. He should ride a fine horse and conquer the plains. Chen Yang noticed that everyone's attention was focused on him. He smiled calmly, then organized his thoughts before speaking. Chairman Tang, principal, and other leaders, these 3 financial companies each have their own strengths. However, I have no intention of joining any of them. During this period, I used my hard-earned savings and a sum of money borrowed from my roommates to practice investing in the stock market. I was lucky enough to earn my first pot of gold. Therefore, I will take the entrepreneurial route next and start my own investment company. Tang Feng was startled, and the smile on his face froze instantly. He never expected that Chen Yang's reply would be completely unexpected. Not only him, but also Principal Zhu Jun, Vice Principal Liu Neng, Director of Academic Affairs Lin Aguo, and others looked at Chen Yang with disbelief. They considered countless answers, but they never expected that Chen Yang would want to start his own business and open a company. That's simply unbelievable. Start a business, start a company. Chen Yang, are you serious? This is a major event concerning your future career and prospects, so don't treat it lightly. After a while, Tang Feng came to his senses. He looked at Chen Yang with a complex expression, a mixture of relief, confusion, and doubt. Of course, there is also a great deal of appreciation for the young people's boldness, courage, and determination. Yes, Chen Yang, starting a business is like 1,000 troops crossing a single plank bridge. It sounds good, but the difficulties you will face in order to survive to the end and develop your company are unimaginable. If you join a financial company, not only can the risk be minimized, but you can also earn a high salary every year, which will be of great benefit to your personal career development and experience accumulation. Why don't you think about it again? You absolutely can't act impulsively. Principal Zhu Jun also hurriedly spoke up, trying to persuade Chen Yang to change his mind. After all, he had seen so-called geniuses and chosen ones, who, with a heart full of enthusiasm and passion, plunged headlong into the entrepreneurial wave. But in the end, only 1 in 100 truly succeeds and becomes famous. The probability of this happening is simply brutal. In particular, Chen Yang had no resources, no connections, no startup capital, and no wealthy family to support him. Failure will inevitably plunge you into the lowest point in your life. It's clear that a good hand was played to the worst possible effect. Zhu Jun didn't think highly of him at all. He felt that Chen Yang should be down to earth and take things one step at a time. It's a good thing that young people have goals, dreams, passion, and the courage to take risks. But they also need to be realistic and achieve their goals step by step, in stages. At this stage, Chen Yang's best course of action is not to start his own company, but to first join a financial company, accumulate work experience, and continuously grow his skills. Once the time is right and he has built up enough connections and resources, he can then leave to start his own business. In this way, the probability of entrepreneurial success will increase significantly. This is a stage that most successful entrepreneurs must go through. Chairman Tang, Principal, I know you both genuinely care about me. However, I made this decision not on a whim, but after careful consideration. And I am confident that I can run the company well. I had already made up my mind about this matter, but I never expected that the school would recommend me for a job. I am really flattered. Chen Yang looked grateful, regardless of the school leaders and Chairman Tang's motives. But they genuinely wanted to help Chen Yang so that he could have a bright future. Chen Yang was extremely grateful for this. A drop of water in need deserves a spring in return. Now that he had achieved financial freedom, Chen Yang felt it was time to do what he could for his alma mater that had nurtured him. Chen Yang, can you tell me exactly how much money you've made in the stock market? Tang Feng had a fairly good understanding of Chen Yang's personality. Once a decision is made to do something, it is not easily changed. However, he is not an impulsive, reckless person. This decision must have been made in light of the current situation. Therefore, Tang Feng was very curious about what kind of achievements Chen Yang had made in the stock market that would lead him to make such an unbelievable decision. As Tang Feng asked this question, Principal Zhu Jun, Vice Principal Liu Neng, and Director of Academic Affairs Lin Aguo all turned their gazes toward Chen Yang, awaiting his reply. After all, they simply couldn't understand why Chen Yang, who could have had an enviable high-paying job, would choose to give it up without hesitation and instead embark on the path of entrepreneurship, a path that everyone acknowledges is the most difficult. There must be some unknown secret behind this. Chairman Tang, as expected, nothing can be hidden from you. Very well, everyone here is my elder, and also my teacher who has always cared for and looked after me. In that case, I won't hide it from you anymore. I used my personal savings, plus millions of yuan raised, to enter the stock market, and have now made a profit of over 100 million yuan. It's no exaggeration to say that I'm financially free. So this is my biggest source of confidence to go further and fly higher on the road of entrepreneurship. After a moment of contemplation, Chen Yang spoke calmly to the crowd. Millions of dollars entered the market, profits exceeding 100 million. Upon hearing this, everyone's eyes widened immediately, their faces filled with shock and disbelief. Clearly, this achievement far exceeded their expectations, although they knew in their hearts that Chen Yang was very talented in the financial field, as evidenced by his academic ranking first in his grade. But theory is, after all, just theory. To profit from investing in the ever-changing stock market, solid professional knowledge is not enough. It will further test investors' vision and courage. Every year, countless finance graduates emerge from top universities across the country. These people are all exceptional talents in the financial field, possessing solid theoretical knowledge and innovative thinking. However, very few people can truly make a name for themselves in the stock market. Those who possess this ability have now become renowned figures in the financial field. Chen Yang invested millions in the market and, at a young age, has already earned hundreds of millions in profits. This strength and skill are simply astonishing. No wonder he's so proud and arrogant that he looks down on working for a financial company. What others see as a high-paying job offer is, in Chen Yang's eyes, a shackle and a burden. With such abilities, it seems that the only path available is to start a business and open a company. A dragon emerges from the abyss, soaring into the sky. It seems like a true dragon is about to emerge from Shanghai University. This moment, everyone was filled with joy. The look in his eyes as he looked at Chen Yang no longer held any trace of contempt or displeasure. Instead, there was appreciation, respect, and admiration. Young people should have lofty ambitions and ride swift horses across plains. This is the school leader's truest reflection of Chen Yang, and also their best evaluation. Chapter 59. In return for kindness, he donated 20 million to the school in his personal capacity. Chen Yang took in the expressions on the faces of all the leaders. Before anyone could react, he continued. When I heard the news, it was hard for the leaders to believe, but it is the truth. From the moment I stepped into Shanghai University, I felt the strong academic atmosphere of the school, as well as the care and protection of the president and board members. I would say that my achievements today are due not only to my personal abilities and a bit of luck, but also to the care and support I received from my teachers and leaders. Therefore, after careful consideration, I have decided to donate 20 million yuan to the school in my personal capacity. Part of the donation will be used to improve the school's infrastructure and teaching equipment, and the other part will be used for poverty relief and scholarships. This can be considered my small contribution to the school's cultivation. As the old saying goes, when poor, one should cultivate one's own virtue. When rich, one should help the world. It was because Chen Yang had experienced the rain that he understood why, after achieving success, those well-known entrepreneurs and chairmen of listed companies would donate a considerable sum of money to education every year. Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. Only through knowledge can children from impoverished families possibly transcend social classes. While realizing their own value, they also make some contributions to the country and society. It must be said that Chen Yang's vision and thinking far surpass those of his peers. Chen Yang, you are outstanding, even more outstanding than we imagined. Since you have your own ideas, we, as elders, naturally cannot interfere with your decision. Regarding your donation to the school, We will create a special feature on the school's official website to thank you for your contribution to the school. Secondly, the school will also assign special personnel to manage the accounts to ensure that the accounts are clear and transparent, and that every penny is used effectively. Finally, I hope that, when you achieve success in your career, you will have time to come back to visit the school often. Tang Feng had already realized it. Starting today, Chen Yang, this hidden dragon, will take off completely from Shanghai University. Today, he is proud of Shanghai University. One day, Shanghai University will be proud of Chen Yang. And he believes that day is not far off. Don't worry, Mr. Tang. No matter where I go or what position I hold in the future, I will never forget that I graduated from Shanghai University. Chen Yang smiled slightly and said, "Good, well done. Chen Yang, you truly deserve to be the most outstanding graduate of the finance department of Shanghai University. This is my business card. If you ever encounter any difficulties in the future, feel free to call me anytime. I will do my best to help you within my capabilities." Now, Principal Zhu Jun was particularly excited. He looked at Chen Yang as if he had seen a god of wealth. Although Shanghai University receives a substantial amount of funding from the Ministry of Education every year for the school's research and daily operations. But those were government funds, and every expenditure was subject to an exceptionally strict approval process. However, Chen Yang's donation of 20 million yuan was no longer subject to such constraints. Moreover, this is not just a sum of money, but also the greatest honor the school can bestow upon Chen Yang for nurturing such an outstanding individual. After all, not every university can produce a prodigious genius like Chen Yang. This is a prestigious brand, and also the best advertisement for the school next year. For Zhu Jun, this was a significant achievement in his political career. "Thank you, Principal." Chen Yang looked very grateful. Without any hesitation, he carefully kept the business card that Zhu Jun handed him. Zhu Jun is a university president, a high-ranking official within the system, and his connections and power far surpass his. Chen Yang might need his help someday. Therefore, he would definitely cherish this connection. "Principal, could you please give me a bank account number later? I need to transfer the 20 million yuan donation into the account." Finally, Chen Yang reminded everyone, "Director Lin, I'll leave this matter to you." Zhu Jun nodded, then looked at Lin Aguo, the director of the Academic Affairs Office. "Yes, Principal." Lin Aguo responded decisively. After exchanging pleasantries for a while and drinking a few cups of tea, Chen Yang excused himself and took his leave. It was already 11 a.m. Chen Yang had just stepped out of the office building when his phone rang. He picked it up and saw it was his counselor, Ms. Jiang Ning, calling. It turned out that when teacher Jiang Ning took Chen Yang to the principal's office, she had already returned to her office to handle her work while he was being interviewed. Judging by the time, Chen Yang's interview should have ended by now, so he thought of calling to inquire about the results. "Chen Yang, how did the interview go? Did it go relatively smoothly?" As soon as the call connected, Ms. Jiang Ning's slightly concerned voice rang out. "Smoothly, very smoothly. The leaders of the 3 financial companies all appreciated me very much and offered me a job with an annual salary of no less than 300,000 yuan. The highest offer was an invitation from Tiancheng Financial Company with an annual salary of 400,000 yuan. But I refused them all." After thinking for a moment, Chen Yang decided not to hide it from teacher Jiang Ning and answered truthfully. "After all, she has always been very caring and attentive to me." "What, you actually refused?" "Chen Yang, are you crazy? Do you know how intense the job market is right now? So many top finance graduates are unemployed right after graduation. They dream of getting a well-paying job offer. You actually turned down such a great offer. What exactly are you thinking?" Jiang Ning felt like she was going crazy with anger at Chen Yang's behavior. The offer that others dream of getting was scorned by Chen Yang. Is Chen Yang too arrogant or too ambitious? Among the outstanding graduates of the finance department in previous years, none can match Chen Yang in terms of talent and ability. But they all eventually received good offers, with monthly salaries ranging from 15,000 to 20,000 yuan, which adds up to an annual salary of less than 300,000 yuan. Now, Chen Yang can get offers with a maximum annual salary of 400,000 yuan, but he is still not satisfied. Jiang Ning realized that she seemed to have no idea what Chen Yang was thinking at all. "Teacher Jiang, please don't be angry. I have my reasons for doing this. I won't hide it from you. The principal and Chairman Tang both know about this, and they all support my decision. I think you'll know the details soon." Chen Yang first offered a word of comfort. Then they used the principal and chairman Tang as shields. He believed that, given Ms. Jiang Ning's personality, she would definitely talk to the principal privately to find out the whole story. That's better than his empty explanation. After saying that, before teacher Jiang Ning could react, he immediately hung up the phone. Meanwhile, inside the office, when Jiang Ning saw that Chen Yang dared to hang up on her, her face turned very ugly. To find out what really happened, Jiang Ning rushed to the principal's office immediately. Principal Zhu, I heard from Chen Yang that his interview went very well, and several companies offered him very good compensation. However, he refused to join these financial companies. He also said, "You agree with the decision I made. What exactly is going on?" Jiang Ning knocked on the door. He then strode into the principal's office, walked up to Zhu Jun with a puzzled look and asked. Chapter 60. The shock of beautiful counselor Jiang Ning inviting her dormmates to dinner. Teacher Jiang, you've come at the perfect time. I want to thank you for nurturing such a good student for our school. You probably don't know this, but Chen Yang, that student in your class, is an absolute financial genius. Besides his outstanding academic performance, his personal investment talent is so extraordinary that it's unimaginable. He invested millions in the market, and now his net worth has exceeded 100 million. Just now, he also said that he would donate 20 million to the school in his personal capacity for school infrastructure and educational equipment, as well as poverty relief and scholarships. I've never encountered such an outstanding student in all my years in the education industry. The reason he refused to work for a financial company is because he is too capable. Next, he will start his own investment company, and his future is destined to be bright. His ideals and ambitions are far greater than those of ordinary people. We can't intervene, so we can only choose to support them. Zhu Jun smiled slightly and explained to Jiang Ning in a calm voice. Upon hearing this, Jiang Ning felt her brain instantly shut down. Good heavens, how is this possible? Chen Yang actually invested in the stock market and made over 100 million yuan. And now, he's going to donate 20 million yuan to the school. Not only that, he also plans to start his own business and open a company. Is this something a student from an ordinary family, a senior about to graduate, could do? Isn't that a bit too exaggerated? After the initial shock, Jiang Ning felt that this seemed to perfectly match Chen Yang's image as a top student. After all, Chen Yang is exceptionally capable in all aspects. He is intelligent, studious, quick-witted, handsome, and has excellent academic performance. Today, he has amassed an astonishing fortune from the stock market through his own abilities. Although it's shocking, it's not entirely unacceptable. No wonder Chen Yang was confident enough to reject the financial company offer that the school had recommended for him. After all, his abilities and skills far exceeded the expectations of the school leaders and board members. So that's how it is. Principal, I understand, and I will respect Chen Yang's own choice. Jiang Ning snapped out of her daze and said with a serious expression, Teacher Jiang, as Chen Yang's counselor, his achievements today are inseparable from your daily care and support. At the end of this year, the school will give you a generous bonus. We hope you can continue your efforts and cultivate more outstanding students like Chen Yang for our school. Zhu Jun looked at Jiang Ning, his words revealing his high hopes for her. Principal, please don't joke around. A top student like Chen Yang is a rare find, and he's simply not someone I can cultivate. His achievements today are due to his own hard work, but also to some opportunities and luck. It's already very rare for our school to produce someone like this. Jiang Ning quickly shook her head. She dared not make any promises to Zhu Jun. That's true, but we still need to do our best to raise our children to be successful. Zhu Jun chuckled and said. At the same time, Chen Yang returned to dormitory 405 for male students. Kai opened the door. Chen Yang knocked on the door and called out into the dormitory. Zhu Kai, who was playing on the computer, heard someone calling him and instinctively looked towards the door. Upon discovering that Chen Yang was standing right outside the door, his expression froze. Hey, isn't this my brother Yang? What brings you back today? These past few days, you've been living a blissful and sweet life with school beauty Yi. Are you getting a little too attached to home? Why did you finally decide to come back to see your brothers today? Zhu Kai flung the door open. The next moment, he couldn't help but tease him. I originally planned to rush back today and then treat my buddies to a meal. Who would have thought that teacher Jiang would call and ask me to take some time to attend interviews at several financial companies? That's why I was delayed for a while. Chen Yang walked into the dormitory and plopped down on the chair under his bed. Then his gaze swept over the other beds. Seeing that no one was upstairs, he asked curiously, Dongji and Liangji, aren't they in the dorm? No, he went out this morning. He's probably on a date with his girlfriend. Wudong and Hao Liang are both handsome and talented, and they are never short of female friends. This is no secret in the dorm. Zhu Kai is handsome and has plenty of pocket money, so finding a girlfriend shouldn't be difficult for him. But he's a total homebody. He usually spends his days in his dorm playing games, doing programming and designing. Chen Yang was already used to this. Kai, come out with me later, I'll treat you to a big meal. And while you're at it, invite Dongji and Liangji along too. I have something important to announce to you. Upon hearing this, Zhu Kai looked completely bewildered. After a long pause, Zhu Kai cautiously asked, Brother Yang, could it be related to the time you borrowed money from us? Well, I guess so. Chen Yang did not deny it, and simply nodded in response. Okay, I'll call them now. After Zhu Kai finished speaking, he picked up his phone and contacted Wudong and Hao Liang, relaying Chen Yang's words verbatim. Chen Yang used his phone to check which private restaurants were good nearby, and planned to book a private room in advance. After some searching, I found a private kitchen restaurant called Tang Pavilion, with extremely high ratings. So he immediately made a reservation. A few minutes later, Zhu Kai walked from the balcony to Chen Yang and said, Yang Ji, I've spoken to Dong Ji and Liang Ji, and they've agreed to come back. They're on their way to the school now. No need for that. I've booked a private room at Tang Court. I'll send them the address in a bit, and we can meet up there. You can ride in my car later. I'll take you there. Chen Yang shook his head slightly. He then sent the address directly to Wudong and Hao Liang, and asked them to meet there. Yang Ji, you bought a car. When did this happen? How come I didn't know? What brand? How much does it cost? Zhu Kai looked at Chen Yang in shock. He found that he recognized Chen Yang less and less. It's only been a few days, but Chen Yang has changed so much, especially those eyes, and the aura that naturally emanates from him. This is in stark contrast to what happened before. Previously, Chen Yang was neither humble nor arrogant, but deep down he still had some inferiority complex. But now, his eyes and manner of speaking reveal a strong sense of confidence. The reason for this change is wealth, and after Chen Yang obtained the system, he became powerful enough to completely control his own life. Money gives heroes courage, and power is the best tonic for men. They can make men no longer feel inferior, gradually expand their ambitions, and reshape their worldview. The most obvious change is in one's own magnetic field and temperament. Just a couple of days ago, I picked up a Maybach S680 worth 3 million yuan. It's perfect for commuting and makes getting around much easier. Chen Yang shrugged and said casually, Chapter 61, Straight Man Zhu Kai, get in the back seat, the passenger seat is taken. The words were spoken. Chen Yang then took out the car keys to his Mercedes Maybach from his pocket and showed them to Zhu Kai, as if silently proving he wasn't bragging. Zhu Kai's eyes widened, his face showing extreme shock. You need to know, Chen Yang borrowed money from his roommates a few days ago, totaling 1.35 million yuan. Even if Chen Yang used all the money to buy a car, he still couldn't afford a Maybach S680. Moreover, based on Zhu Kai's understanding of Chen Yang, he was definitely not the kind of person who would stoop to borrowing money just to satisfy his vanity. On the contrary, he would only ask his roommates for help when absolutely necessary. As for what Chen Yang will do with the money, Zhu Kai secretly guessed that the other party had most likely used it for investment. Brother Yang, have you made a fortune? He hesitated for a few seconds. Zhu Kai finally couldn't suppress his curiosity and mustered up the courage to ask Chen Yang. Didn't I borrow some money from my brothers a few days ago? I put that money, along with my own savings, into the stock market. I caught the wave and made a fortune. Dong Ji knows about this. When Qingya and I went to Yu Shang Fang for dinner, we happened to run into Dong Ji and his new girlfriend. Chen Yang smiled calmly. Seeing Zhu Kai's curious expression, she didn't hide it and explained. Holy crap, I actually guessed right. Brother Yang, you're awesome. I knew it. You're an absolute genius in finance. You're sure to make a fortune with just a little effort. From now on, I'll cling to your coattails. Zhu Kai jumped up excitedly. In his heart, Chen Yang was a hidden dragon. They are just waiting for the weather to change, so that they can find their own opportunity and soar to new heights. Not only him, but also Wudong and Hao Liang from the dormitory. They all thought highly of Chen Yang. Otherwise, they wouldn't have lent Chen Yang all the money without hesitation when he asked to borrow it. All right, stop joking around. Let's get ready to go. Seeing Zhu Kai's cute and ingratiating expression, Chen Yang couldn't bear to look at him, so I took the initiative to change the subject. Seeing this, Zhu Kai smiled sheepishly and became much more restrained. The two quickly walked out of the dormitory building and arrived in front of the Maybach S680. Beep beep. Chen Yang unlocked the car door with the key and got into the driver's seat. Zhu Kai was excited and about to open the passenger door when Chen Yang glared at him. You get in the back, the front passenger seat is taken. Hearing this, Zhu Kai looked puzzled. Almost instinctively, he blurted out, "Where did you come from?" "My girlfriend, Yiqingya." Chen Yang rolled his eyes at Zhu Kai, annoyed. He was genuinely worried about this guy's emotional intelligence. Luckily, Zhu Kai is a total homebody and has no interest in dating. Otherwise, his girlfriend would definitely be driven half to death by his chauvinistic tendencies. What? Zhu Kai even doubted whether he was hallucinating. "Yang Ji, do you mean that school beauty you will be coming to dinner with us later?" Chen Yang nodded with a serious expression. "What else?" "Oh right, I forgot to tell you. Yiqingya and I are officially dating now. She's my girlfriend. Isn't it normal for her to have a meal with us?" These words were spoken. Zhu Kai's expression froze instantly. "Yang Ji, you really won over school beauty, ye?" "No, you're not kidding." Although Zhu Kai had suspected it for a while, but when it became a fact, his first reaction was still that he couldn't accept it. After all, Yiqingya is the undisputed beauty queen of the School of Foreign Languages. She is also hailed as the most beautiful campus belle goddess in Shanghai University's history. Her suitors could stretch from the east gate to the north gate of the school. In particular, those few highly popular and distinguished young men from wealthy families publicly announced that they wanted Yiqingya to be their girlfriend. This leads to many people having feelings of affection, but being wary of their powerful backgrounds. They can only bury their deep love in their hearts. They watched from afar, but dared not approach to disturb them. Certainly, Yiqingya rejected countless suitors, and even as graduation approached, she never had any scandals. Just a few days ago, she met with Chen Yang privately, and their relationship seemed strange, as if they had some unknown secret. Zhu Kai didn't dare ask any of these questions, nor could he find a suitable opportunity to inquire. Who would have thought? Just a few days later, their relationship was officially confirmed. If this news gets out, it might cause a huge sensation. At that time, Chen Yang will definitely become the public enemy of all the boys in the school. Just imagining that scene put Zhu Kai under immense pressure. Yes, it's true. I'll explain the specifics to you when I have time later. Now get in the car quickly. I'm going to pick up my girlfriend. Chen Yang urged him on. Upon hearing this, Zhu Kai immediately opened the back door and got in. Chen Yang took out his phone and sent a message to Yiqingya. "Qingya, my interview is over. I'm planning to treat my roommates to lunch. I've already booked a place. I'm on my way to pick you up now." Just a few seconds later, with a ding, my phone received a message from Yiqingya. "Okay, I've finished everything here. I'll come downstairs now and wait for you where I got off the bus." "Okay, I'll be right there." After replying to the message, Chen Yang put his phone in the car's glove compartment, started the car, and drove towards the girls' dormitory building. A few minutes later, the Maybach S680 arrived at the girls' dormitory building. Chen Yang spotted the beautiful figure standing under the tree at a glance, so he slowly drove the car over. Yiqingya opened the passenger door and sat down comfortably. He looked toward Chen Yang, about to say something, when he noticed someone in the back seat of the car. Moreover, she had seen this person before. It was Zhu Kai, the roommate who opened the door for Yiqingya when she went to the boys' dormitory to find Chen Yang. "Qingya, let me introduce you. This is my roommate, Zhu Kai. You met a few days ago." Chen Yang smiled slightly and said, "Hello, sister-in-law." Zhu Kai couldn't help but feel nervous looking at Yiqingya so closely. "Hello," Yiqingya nodded to Zhu Kai and greeted him. Chen Yang set his destination as Tang Pavilion, and then used navigation to set off directly. With the accelerator pressed, the Maybach S680 drove towards the school gate. Inside the car, the atmosphere was extremely quiet. "Chen Yang, where are we going to eat?" After a moment, Yiqingya spoke, asking Chen Yang in a soft voice. "Tang Pavilion. This private restaurant is not far from our school, and I saw that it has very good reviews online. Perfect timing. Let's go over and try it out, see how the food tastes." Chen Yang replied with a smile. However, at this moment, Zhu Kai, who was sitting in the back row, suddenly remembered a crucial piece of information, and his face became visibly embarrassed. After hesitating for a long time, Zhu Kai finally spoke. "Brother Yang, I heard that Tang seems to be owned by Li Bo's family." Will bringing my sister-in-law over for dinner cause any unnecessary trouble? How about we switch seats? Chapter 62, Dining at Tang Pavilion, Dormitory Brothers Gather. The news about Li Bo pursuing Yi Qingye had been circulating widely at school for some time, despite Yi Qingye repeatedly rejecting Li Bo's confessions in public. But Li Bo did not give up, and instead continued to pester him. He was wary of Yi Qingye's family background and dared not use any forceful means against her, but he clung to her like a leech. Any man who appears around her will be driven away by Li Bo through coercion, bribery, and all sorts of means. After all, no one wants to offend Li Bo over this and cause trouble for themselves. If Li Bo found out that Chen Yang was now dating Yi Qingye, Zhu Kai didn't even dare to imagine what would happen. Need not. Although Tange is Li Bo's property, it's not necessarily a coincidence that I'll run into him there. Furthermore, I had already run into him when Qingye and I were shopping before. Besides, with his abilities, he can't threaten me. Chen Yang shook his head, rejecting Zhu Kai's suggestion. Firstly, he found it troublesome. Secondly, in Chen Yang's eyes, Li Bo posed no threat to him whatsoever. After all, Yi Qingye is currently pregnant with Chen Yang's child. They are now officially dating again, and their relationship is getting better every day. Ignoring family background, Li Bo is inferior to himself in every aspect. Even though Li Bo wanted to use his status to target and suppress Chen Yang was not one to be trifled with and had plenty of ways to fight back. Brother Yang, you've changed so much in just a few days. I now truly admire you from the bottom of my heart. Zhu Kai was stunned for a moment. After a while, he gave Chen Yang a thumbs up. Chen Yang's courage and sense of responsibility alone are enough to earn Zhu Kai's respect. With such a strong sense of justice, it's no wonder that Yi Xiaohua, the school beauty, would fall for Chen Yang and even secretly harbor feelings for him. Chen Yang, that Li Bo is narrow-minded, and often acts arrogantly and domineeringly because of his family background. If he dares to do anything excessive to you, you must tell me immediately, and I will find someone to help you get revenge. Upon hearing this, Yi Qingye's dislike for Li Bo intensified. She didn't doubt whether Chen Yang could withstand Li Bo's retaliation, but she felt that the other party was constantly harassing her. Now they're even taking their anger out on Chen Yang. This action infuriated Yi Qingye. Don't worry, I'm not someone you can easily bully. If Li Bo has the guts to use any means against me, I will do everything in my power to make him pay the price for his actions. Chen Yang said this with absolute confidence. We live in the internet age. Anyone with a keen eye can uncover the dirty secrets about Li Bo and his family that can't be brought to light. Let professionals do what they are good at. For example, top hackers, private investigators, and information brokers. As long as he's willing to spend money and pay the price, Chen Yang has plenty of ways to make Li Bo back down. Even if we take a step back and say that, even if Chen Yang doesn't have the resources and channels in this area, don't forget that he's a man with a system. Spend some time working on improving your hacking skills. You don't need to be incredibly skilled. As long as you can hack into Li Bo's phone and personal computer or even his home surveillance system, you can always find a weakness in him. Alternatively, one could spend time practicing martial arts to improve their combat skills. Then one night, on Li Bo's way home, giving him a free full body massage to loosen up his muscles and bones wasn't a difficult thing to do. All of this depends on Chen Yang's mood. As soon as Chen Yang said this, Zhu Kai and Yi Qingye tacitly avoided continuing the topic. 20 minutes later, the Maybach S680 was parked in the parking lot outside the Tang Court. Chen Yang opened the car door and got out one by one. As soon as I entered the lobby, a staff member warmly greeted me. Welcome to Tang Court for your dining. Excuse me, are there 3 of you? Did you book a private room in advance? The receptionist bowed slightly. He immediately realized that Chen Yang was the leader of the 3, so he asked Chen Yang respectfully. I booked a private room here. My surname is Chen, and the last 4 digits of my phone number are 6217. I have a few more friends coming over later, so could you please arrange a slightly more spacious private room for me? Chen Yang spoke politely to the staff. Please wait a moment, sir. I'll check the information for you right away. After the staff member finished speaking, he picked up his tablet and began checking the booking information. After confirming the information, he immediately replied with a smile. Sir, madam, please follow me. Not long after, Chen Yang, Yi Qingye, and Zhu Kai followed the staff through a passageway into the inner hall. Finally, we arrived at a quiet, luxuriously decorated private room that could accommodate about 10 people. Sir, this is our shop's paper-based specialty menu. If you find it troublesome, you can also order food directly through our tablet in the back end. The staff member produced a menu and a tablet from somewhere and handed them directly to Chen Yang, speaking respectfully. Okay, let's order something to drink first. We'll order when everyone's here. Chen Yang checked the time. It's estimated that Wu Dong and Hao Liang will arrive soon. Bring me a pot of Longjing tea, a fruit platter, and some snacks. Qingya, please tell me if there's anything else you need. Chen Yang casually ordered a pot of tea and some snacks, then handed the tablet to Yi Qingya. Yi Qingya glanced at it and said, I'd like a glass of lemonade. Brother Yang, I'll just have some tea with you, nothing else. I'm saving room for a big meal later. Zhu Kai waved his hand and said, Then let's serve these first. Chen Yang nodded and then handed the tablet back to the staff member. Yes, sir. The staff are extremely efficient. In less than 3 minutes, the tea and snacks were placed on the table, and then the person bowed and left the room. Ring ringed. Just then, Chen Yang's phone rang. He picked it up and saw that it was a call from Wu Dong. Chen Yang, Liang Ji, and I have arrived. Which private room are you in? As soon as the call connected, Wu Dong immediately asked,